before we start this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let me know down in the comments what kind of videos you want me to make during this bit of a dead period in sports. We got about a month before NFL starts up, NBA, so on and so forth. So let me know what you want me to do down below. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Now let's get right into the NFL standings predictions. Welcome back to another Ball Knowers podcast. Today we're talking about some NFL standings. I haven't done an NFL podcast in quite some time now, but we're doing some NFL 2025-2026 projections for the standings. Today, joined once again by Chase Brostek. Chase, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm excited to get this podcast done. It's been a couple weeks now since we did our last one. Can you tell me a little bit what jersey you're wearing today?
That would be Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard jersey. Home. We've got a little bit of an unk squad going in our backcourt now, but no, I'm just so happy he's back. I watched that whole press conference with a smile on my face. So, uh, he's probably never going to be the same player again, but it's nice to see the most important player probably in the history of our franchise come back home. So, um,
I mean, Bill Walton
figured
got
I'd throw the jersey on.
Bill Walton got you a championship, but I guess you could argue Dame. Um, all right. Well, so for this podcast, I'm thinking we just go division by division and uh, start out with whoever you have at one, and then talk about them for a few minutes about what they added, lost, why you think that they'll be one, whatever. And we'll go through all four divisions in each conference. Um, I started my notes out at the NFC North. Do you have any objections starting there?
No.
Okay. So do you want to start at four or do you want to start at one? What do you think?
Uh,
I think one probably, right?
I don't really have
Okay,
a preference.
we'll start at one. Um, all right, I have this year's rankings projections, which my projections, and then I also put last year's standings that they had. So last year it was Lions at the 1 seed, Vikings at the 2, Packers at the 3, Bears at the 4. This year I'm putting Packers at 1. Uh, I just think. Who do you have at 1?
Um, I'd probably have the Lions staying up there.
Gotcha. For me, I feel like I think I think the Lions are going to take a little bit of a step back, and so that kind of just like catapults the Packers into that number 1 seed. I don't think the Vikings are there anymore. They losing Sam Darnold and now JJ McCarthy coming in, so that makes them kind of take a step back as well. And I just kind of think that the Packers, they have the most continuity in this division. They don't have any coaching changes, any major position changes, and I feel like they just overall got better. I mean, they added Matthew Golden in the first round. That was their first round receiver since I think like 2002 or something like that. Um, and I'm confident in Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs and like this Matt LaFleur led team too, and the defense is really good still. They lost Jair Alexander, but like he's been kind of hurt the last few years. Um, but I'm just most confident in this team to stay the course and just win this division. I think it'll be probably a close race. I did throw together some like record predictions, and like I can reference these throughout. I had them at 11-6. I think that's probably about likely. I think the betting odds say that they are over 9.5, over under 9.5. So I guess I would take their over. But you said Lions. Why do you have the Lions?
Um, I just think the Lions were clearly the best NFC team when they were healthy last year. They lost Aiden Hutchinson for pretty much the entire season.
Yep.
He'll be back. They added DJ Reed, who I'm pretty high on at corner. They lose Ben Johnson, who's definitely their biggest loss. Um, but I don't know. I have a hard time seeing them regressing to the point where they'd be less than like a 12-win team. I still think they'll be because me personally, I'm not very high on really any of the other teams in the North.
Hmm.
I don't really think the Packers are that good. I don't really think the Vikings will be as good.
Yeah.
Um, I still think it'll be the Lions division to lose. I think Gibbs will take another step forward this year. I think he'll be one of the three best running backs in the league again. Um, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how their offense changes. It'll probably be a lot less creative. It'll
Hmm.
probably be less explosive. But Goff is a guy who's able to execute within structure. So as long as they can kind of build a solid structure for him,
Yeah, that's fair.
um, they still have the offensive line to protect him. I don't think they'll really do much in the playoffs because Goff
Yeah,
is
that's just Dan
Jared
Campbell,
Goff.
Jared
But
Goff led team. Yeah. I
I think Goff's a good enough quarterback to pilot you to the top of the division again.
yeah. Um, so like I had the Lions for two. The reason I had them two rather than one is because of the coordinator changes. I think it just kind of like I mean what I said for the Packers. They had the most continuity year after year, and I think Jared Goff is a quarterback that needs that. I don't think that he's good enough to just like pick up new offenses and schemes year after year, and not that he's been doing that year after year, but like just going right into a new one right now. They were working with Ben Johnson for I think his entire time he was in Detroit or at least close to it. Um, and they were leading the best offense or close to it every year. I think they had 60 something touchdowns last season, which is just insane. So I would definitely expect that number to go down because that's just almost an impossibly high number to hit again. Um, but their new OC, John Morton, it's a little maybe it's unfair to say this, but he was with the Jets as their OC in 2018, and they were terrible. Like Sam Darnold was awful. That entire offense was terrible, and I think they were ranked like 28th or 29th. And then I think he only held that job for 1 year, and so like, he's hopped around a lot. He's been in the NFL for forever, like since longer than I've been alive. So I think like that worries me a little bit. This is definitely a more structured team with a better foundation. That like maybe that'll be better for him. I have heard him say a lot of things that he wants to use Gibbs more as more of a workhorse rather than like the 50-50 they've been doing. And then he also has been talking a lot about Jameson Williams and saying how they want to use him more as well. So I think that he could have a big year. But getting back Aiden Hutchinson will be big. But losing both of your offensive and defensive coordinators, like that can really, really hurt a team. And we saw it with the Eagles back, whatever that was, 3 years ago when they lost Steichen and Gannon. They went from like a 14 or so win team to like 11 or 12. So I could just see that similar thing happening to the Lions where they lose two or three more games, and that could be enough for a team like the Packers to slide in.
Good.
Who did you have at year two?
Um, I'm not really sure who I have between the Packers and the Vikings. I had them like pretty much around the same record.
Really?
I'd probably go Packers just because I just trust Jordan Love. I'm more confident in the Packers because of the Love and LaFleur than I am in. I mean, O'Connell's a good coach, but
Hmm.
I'm not really. I was never really sold on McCarthy as a prospect. I don't really think McCarthy will be uh, that good of a player. So the Vikings, I think, will have probably the best defense in the division as long as Flores is there. But yeah, I think the Packers will just be more reliable. I think they'll probably squeak just past them.
Gotcha. I I had the Lions also at 11-6. And these record predictions, like I don't want to hold much weight into them at all because I threw these together at like 1 a.m. when I was making this like notes for this the other day. So, like, it was just a quick, like, go week by week, click who I think will win, which those never go well. Uh, yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. I also wasn't very high on JJ McCarthy when he as a prospect, and like that does worry me for this offense. But at the same time, Kevin O'Connell just made Sam Darnold look like a top 10 quarterback this year, so or close to it until they week 18 and then the playoffs. So I think it does worry me, but Kevin O'Connell has shown that he can make anybody good. So maybe McCarthy can. Maybe it's not his rookie year. Maybe it's down the line. But I wouldn't be surprised if he makes him look better than he is. Going into the number three for the NFC North, I had Chicago. Um, I think that
Mm,
they are going to have a better offense than the Vikings. I think Ben Johnson's just a better like he's with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. I think that's a better combo than JJ McCarthy and KOC. I think I've been hearing a lot of good things out of camp about Caleb Williams, and I just buy into his second year breakout or improvement, whatever. I think I like the Luther Burden pick. Uh, Losing Keenan Allen but replacing him with Burden will suit them well. They still have all of these weapons. They drafted Colston Loveland in the first round, which they've been loving him. I've seen in camp. They, Noah Fant or not Noah Fant. Cole Kmet is now the tight end two there, but apparently they're going to run a lot of two tight end sets as well. Um, I don't think that this is their year to contend or even make the playoffs, but I think that it's a step in the right direction, and I think that they're going to win more games this season. And if they don't, then I have some questions about Caleb Williams, which would be surprising because I and everybody else was extremely high on him for like the entire college experience, pre-draft, everything. Um, the offensive line's a little bit better than it was last year. The defense was getting better throughout the season. They traded for Montez Sweat. I think that they will consistently, especially like the second half of the season, as Caleb Williams gets more comfortable in the Ben Johnson scheme. I think that they will start winning more games.
Um, yeah, I would still go with the Vikings at 3. I just think O'Connell is like one of the best coaches in the league, so I think he'll keep them. He'll keep them above 500. I think Flores is going to have them as one of the best defenses in the league. So I don't really see them falling below the Bears.
Mm.
I think all four teams in this conference are good, or in this division are good. Um, and Johnson getting at. I mean, we'll find out this year if Caleb Williams is going to be like a tragic bust or if he's going to end up being the player we all ended up wanting to see.
Yeah,
Because I mean, with the situation he's got going right now, it's going to be up to him to just play the way that we're expecting him to play. I don't. I'm looking at their running backs right now. It's really, really bad. I don't think they're going to have a really good running
Chicago.
game. But yeah,
Well, they do have
I
Rutgers
don't,
legend Kyle Monaghan, so I mean that's definitely got to hold some weight. Seventh round pick this past year. He's gonna be their RB1 by the end of the year because DeAndre Swift sucks.
Seahawks legend Travis Homer sitting there at the
Yeah,
fourth string.
exactly. They've got
Um,
they've got some real legends out
but like their receiving core, I was really high on Burden coming into the draft. I
there.
was surprised they were able to get him.
Yeah.
Dunze, I was really high on him last draft. You still have DJ Moore. Like
Hmm.
you have Loveland, you have Komet. That's a ridiculous group of weapons to throw the ball to. You have Ben Johnson, who's most creative offensive mind in
Hmm.
the entire league right now. And you have Caleb Williams, who has an arm that can make any throw on the field. So
Yeah.
I'd be pretty surprised if Caleb Williams didn't have a massive bounce back season this year.
Hmm.
So I do still think that Bears will hang around 500, but I don't think I'd have them anywhere above 4 in the division right now.
Okay. I'm now realizing that when I did my standings and then I did my record predictions to like see if they match. Um,
Mhm.
So I had the Vikings at 6-11, and then I had the Bears at 5-12. But I still feel like the Bears will be the 3 seed. I think that they'll. I don't know why I had them so low. In fact, I had them actually. I had them losing to the Browns in Week 15. Yeah, see, like these record predictions should not be too bought into. Um, but yeah, I think that they'll. I think that they're gonna have a bounce back year. I think Caleb's gonna look better. I just think Ben Johnson's kind of an offense guru, where he can like he'll come up with crazy schemes or he had the two running backs in Detroit that he made both I think 1,000-yard rushers or at least close to it. Um, I think this offense will be fine. The only concern, like you said, is the lack of running backs. DeAndre Swift being your main running back, like maybe we see Roshan Johnson finally. Uh, I don't know if it's going to be more of a passing offense instead. That'll be interesting to see because it's definitely going to be a different offense than he ran in Detroit. Which I feel like a lot of times when an OC goes to a new team as a head coach, you kind of see them try to run the same thing. Whereas this, I don't think he's going to be able to, and if he is, it's probably not going to work as well. Um, Going into the number 4, I had Minnesota. We both kind of talked on them a little bit. I still think that they're going to be a decent team, but it's just like the defense is going to be really good. I just don't think the offense is going to be there, even with uh, Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. It's a lot of sons. I think I just don't think that KOC is going to be able to get the most out of McCarthy at least this year. I've heard some negative things. I mean, I don't know if you saw that the Justin Jefferson interview. He says like, oh, he's a rookie. Basically, you got to give him some time. Like, he's still learning, whatever, whatever. Like, he said a few other things similar to that, and all that kind of just makes me feel not very confident. I feel like you typically hear a player say, "Oh, he's killing it. He's making all the throws, whatever, whatever." And so for him not to be brutally honest, it is a little bit worrisome. It's still also it was July when he said that. It's now August 1st, so we have time. He's got another month to figure it out. He's going to play in some preseason, and get his first NFL touches. But yeah, I think that this is just not the Vikings' year. I wouldn't if McCarthy ends up being good, the Vikings could win this division. Like they have the
If
team.
McCarthy
Mhm.
if McCarthy plays like Darnold did last year, I think I'd pick them to win the division, but I
Yeah,
just feel like that's unlikely.
I agree. I if exactly what I was gonna say. Um, Even if he's like a little bit worse, they could be the 2 seed or at least the 3 seed. But I don't buy into it. I don't think he's gonna be very good this year. Maybe down the line, but I just don't really buy into it. I don't even think he was that good at Michigan. And I mean, but to be fair, he had an elite team around him, and like he was just game manager good enough to get it done. So maybe he could do the same in the NFL. Who knows? You had the Bears at the 4 seed, right?
Yeah, and for me, like I said with the Vikings, O'Connell and Flores. O'Connell's one of my favorite coaches. Flores is one of my favorite coordinators. And as far as the offense goes, even if McCarthy is like pretty bad, I just feel like Justin Jefferson is the ultimate bailout receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't get better than him right now. So I think him, Addison, and Hawkinson is a group that can carry a poor quarterback to like an average level offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll be fine on that end. Um, I still have them hanging around over 500 probably.
I so I do want to say about the Lions. When I was doing these record predictions, I was really like just flipping back and forth between 10-7 and 11-6 for them. If I had them at 10-7, they would have missed the playoffs. So like I think that they are on like borderline playoff watch. Maybe that's crazy because they won like 14 games or something like that last year. But I just think the loss of the coordinators will be big. I do agree with what you're saying about the Bears, though. Um, I think that they could be the 4 seed. I wouldn't be that surprised. But if they were also the 3 seed, that means Caleb Williams worked out probably. So there's that's a bright light at least. Moving on to the NFC South, you can start it off. Who's your number 1 seed?
You know, this is a division where I think besides the Saints, I actually think that all three of the other teams could win it. And I said this at the end of last year because they started to get warm at the end of the season. I'm deciding right now if I'm going to go through with it.
I think I know what you're gonna say, and I am going through with it if it's what we both have at one.
I think I'm going to pick the Panthers.
Let's go.
Um,
Let's
that's
go.
crazy. At the end of last season, I was looking at the Panthers' schedule and I was like, they're competing in or winning like most of these
Mm-hmm.
games. And, I think who's it they get back? I think it's Derek Brown's back this year.
Yep.
He's one of the best defensive linemen in the league, one of the best run stoppers in the league. So that'll be big for their defense. They have a lot of injury prone guys on the roster, so it might be a bad idea to predict them to win the division. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I could easily see the Bucks or the Falcons winning it, but I'm going to take a risky pick here and say that the Panthers have some development this year. Bryce Young started to look pretty good at the end of last season. I think
Yep.
he'll improve this year. Hubbard, one of my favorite running backs in the league, runs hard, efficient. They have a very underrated offensive line. I think a lot of people just assume that the Panthers have like one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Last year,
Mm-hmm.
they were one of the best pass and run blocking lines in the league.
Yep.
I think they were top 10 in both. Um, you know, and the receiving core, adding McMillan in the receiving core is really big for them as well. I think he has a chance to be like one of the best wide receiver ones in the league. Probably not right away, but they also have guys depth wise like I think it's Jalen Coker. Is that how you
Yep.
pronounce it? He was. I'm pretty high on him too. I think by the end of the year, he's their wide receiver too. I think he's going to be a really good player. And then, like I said, you get Derek Brown back defensively. Um, they added Wanham, and then you added Morig, who I liked out of Vegas. You have J.C. Horn back there, so yeah, I like the talent they have, and I'm kind of just betting on Bryce Young being the best version of himself this year. But I really like the roster, especially on offense.
I agree. To win the division, the Panthers are plus 400, Falcons 225, Bucks 100, Saints 1100. I have the Panthers at the one seed. I said this since last season ended, throughout the entire
Mhm.
offseason, and then leading up to now. I really do. I actually feel somewhat confident that the Panthers win this division. I think it'll be between them and the Falcons, but I just feel like they ended the season really hot. Like you said, that they were in contention for all of these games last season, and they had a good draft. They drafted Ted McMillan. They really needed that number one receiver. They can't throw 20 check downs to Adam Thielen every game anymore. Um, and in the last three games last season, rushing and throwing, Bryce Young 10 touchdowns, zero turnovers, and they don't really have to win a ton to win this division. You need, if we've seen the last couple of years, 8, 9, 10 games at the most, you win this division, and so that's not unforeseeable at all for the Panthers. They have a really solid defense, and they've got a potentially high flying offense with Bryce Young really proving it last season. You saw the clip of him with this turnaround touchdown. Um, turns it up at the end of the season. You know what that recipe always means. Next season, you go into the season just same where you left off, and I feel like that's going to be the case with the Panthers. Dave Canales is the quarterback whisperer. He's fixed Darnold, Baker, Geno, now Bryce Young. I think that this is the year for the Panthers to make the playoffs, which we haven't said since 2015.
Probably like sometime a little after 2015. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
maybe. I
pretty much
honestly,
up until Cam Newton had the T.J. Watt injury.
yeah,
That's probably the last time they were a playoff threat. But
yeah. Well, I'm glad that we both agree on that. I think the Panthers are going to have a good season. I had them 9-8, which is enough to win this division. My two seed, I had the Falcons. Who did you have?
yeah, I think it's really close between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. I think the big difference here is, like we said, it's going to be really close. So it might come out to like who starts off the best and is able to kind of just maintain the lead throughout.
Mhm.
And like I think the Panthers, because they were hot at the end of last year, start the hottest. I think the Buccaneers, you lose one of the like three best offensive linemen in the league. He's going to be out for I think like the first month of the season.
Yep.
I'm not sure the exact number on that, but I think that's something that could start them off a little slow. And I
Lose your
think if you
offensive
get behind
coordinator.
in this division, what's up?
They lost their offensive coordinator as well. Liam Cohen went to coach the Jags.
Okay. Um, yeah, I wasn't like really keeping up with NFL news much this off season, so there's some stuff I won't know. But yeah, that will hurt them too. And as far as the Falcons go, I actually think, which I'll probably be like one of the 5% of Oregon fans who thinks this, but Michael Penix, I think, is going to be a pretty good player. Um, Bijan Robinson, I think, will. I mean, he could be. I don't know if he'll be the best running back in the league this year, but he probably will be very soon. Drake London is a guy that I'm super high on.
Mhm.
Kyle Pitts, it may be over, but
Hey,
you know,
you can't give. This is the last year before you can officially give up because new quarterback. Better passer than Kirk was last season. Maybe there's some hope.
ugh, man. Hopefully Kyle Pitts is good. Finally, please, fantasy players especially have just been waiting for him to be good forever. But the big thing for me with the Falcons is last year they couldn't have rushed against a Division 1 offensive line. They had like a disgustingly bad pass rush. They went and addressed that in the draft, and I think that will be the difference between them and the Buccaneers is that they're able to rush the passer a little bit better now because I think they will be a little bit better than them offensively.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll take the Panthers at like 9 or 10 wins, and then I'll have the Falcons at around the same, and then I'll just have the Panthers winning the tiebreaker, and then I'd have the Buccaneers at third.
Yeah. So I also have the Falcons at 2. Also 9-8. So I think it'll come down to some sort of tiebreaker. Um,
Mhm,
Penix looked pretty good at the end of last season, and
mhm,
he didn't win. I think it was only 3 games or something. He didn't win them all, but like that's not up to him. He looked pretty good. He was spam targeting Drake London. I think he got like 18 targets or something in one game, or 15, something like that. So I think that connection will just hit the ground running into the season, and like Drake London will be one of the most productive receivers this season. Maybe we see Kyle Pitts, like you said. Darnell Mooney's hurt for a little bit as well. I think Bijan's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, even if they don't make the playoffs. Like I think he's going to be borderline 2K yards, like or close to it. He's probably going to be close to 18 touchdowns or so. He was after like week 4 last season. He was averaging like 100 yards and a touchdown a game, and I don't see why that wouldn't be the case again. He is the best player on this team, and like
mhm.
if they have any sort of want to win this division or make the playoffs, whatever, they need to. This offense needs to go through Bijan. Obviously, Penix is good and can be a focal point as well, but like Bijan is just otherworldly, and they need to utilize that for as long as he's healthy. The defense is pretty good. They didn't really make as many changes this offseason because they made a ton last offseason. They did draft 2 edge rushers in the first round, which is pretty unforeseeable. I mean, or not like whatever the word is. People don't do that typically. Um,
Yeah.
they traded away their first round pick next season to get James Pierce, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a good team, and they're going to be at least a good offense. They were a pretty good defense last season too, but not sack wise. But I think
Mhm.
that'll potentially with the rookies be addressed. Moving on to the Bucks, they are my 3 seed. You said that they are also yours.
Yeah, I definitely think the Saints are like the clear worst team here.
Yeah, I had the Bucks at 8 and 9, and I had the Saints at 3 and 14. Like the Saints, I think are going to be first overall pick, like contending.
Yeah,
Um,
they're gonna be bad.
I'll say that they are not my first overall pick though.
Mm,
But
could be the Browns.
I have to find out later. Um, But yeah, that's enough for the Falcons. Moving on to the Bucks, who are also my three. Um, Losing Cohen, I think, is going to just hurt them a lot. Baker threw 41 touchdowns last season. Like I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. That's just not going to be repeatable with a new offensive coordinator and a head coach that is not offensive minded. And so, like, it's not like he could really pick up much slack with Todd Bowles. Godwin is still not ready. I don't know if he's going to be ready for the season. I haven't heard anything, not like a single positive, even slightly positive thing about him coming off that dislocated ankle last season. Mike Evans slowed down a lot last season. He missed a few games and he barely hit 1K. He had to like farm receptions on slant routes in week 18 to get to 1K. And then you're leaving it up to McMillan, who, to be fair, really great end of last season. And Igbuka, who went first round, second round. I think he was the first round pick, right?
I think he was a first round pick. I didn't like the Egbuka pick
I don't really
considering
either.
how good McMillan looked at the end of last year.
Yeah,
But
I really hope that they don't phase out McMillan because he was really good last season, and
mhm.
I don't think that they will. But if they do, like, I would just be so annoyed. Maybe they got Ibuka because they see Godwin's not going to be ready for the season. Maybe they think like the long term of him is not very bright. But now they have three receivers if Godwin's healthy that are very similar. And then they have Mike Evans, who's like the only like jump ball, go win downfield kind of guy. So it'll be a little interesting to see how this offense works. Bucky Irving's still amazing. The offensive line, still like above average ish, and I think the defense is fine as well. I don't remember them having any major losses. Devin White is not on the team anymore, which will hurt them so drastically because he's just Pro Bowl linebacker Devin White. But
oh yes, yes.
But outside of that, I think like they'll be fine. They could win this division, and I wouldn't be that surprised. But it would just like it would rely on Baker not being like a like not needing an elite offensive coordinator to have a good season.
Um, yeah, I think the key for the Bucks would be to trade Baker and Mike Evans for Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, and then just start Bo Nix, Bucky Irving, Troy Franklin, and Tez Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be their path to contention. But
Interesting.
in all seriousness,
I feel like I've seen that before.
like I said, I think losing Tristan Wirfs just gets you out to a slow start. He's just such an important part of what they try to do offensively,
Yeah,
and uh, in a division where the top three teams are going to be this close, I do think that slow start is just going to get them a little bit behind the rest. So I think the entire division will just beat up on the Saints, but I think the Buccaneers will lose their tiebreakers with the Falcons and the Panthers, and it will just I think they'll finish like 8 or 9 wins.
yeah. I was saying he's going to start the season on pup, so I mean that's at least 4 weeks, and then we'll see after that. Yeah, so that'll hurt them a lot. The Bucks like it'll not having Wirfs could like that could really derail some early weeks uh, when they
See who they play.
yeah
I think do
they
they play
they open up
September
against
7th when the season starts? Is that the
they
Falcons they play week 1?
yeah they play Falcons in Atlanta, Houston in Houston, the Jets in Tampa, and Philly in Tampa. So I have them going 1-3 in that run, and then they pick up
Philly
some wins after that.
Philly without
Tristan
Tristan
Wirfs,
Wirfs is going to be ugly.
yeah,
That's
that'll be a bad game. Like typically that could have been a shootout, but probably not anymore. And then let's just move on quickly to the Saints because there's not much to talk about. They finished last in the division last year. They're going to finish last again. This team is awful. I think almost everything they've done has been bad. Like I am not a huge fan of Kellen Moore as head coach. Tyler Shuck was not even good in college, and then they drafted him a high 40th overall pick in the second round. Uh, he's not good. Spencer Rattler is not very good. Um, yeah, I just like literally my note says, yeah, yikes, bad at basically every position. Like I just rookie head coach with a rookie quarterback, and the quarterback's not very good. The defense is aging and not as good. The bright spot on this team is Alvin Kamara, who's like 30, and I feel like at one of these years he is just due to finally regress, maybe miss more games or like not be as productive. And then Chris Olave, who like they just keep giving him horrible quarterbacks that keep throwing hospital balls, and then he gets knocked out. And obviously, I'm not hoping that happens. I'm hoping Chris Olave can have a whole season because he's really solid. But like it's just it's they're setting him up for zero success with these terrible quarterbacks. But yeah, I have nothing else to say about the Saints. 3-14, I think that could be a good season for
The Saints are going to be, and I live with a Saints fan,
them.
so I'll be watching probably every single game they play. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
um, they're going to be a very, very, very hard team to watch if Show is as bad as he was in college.
Hmm.
He was solid at Louisville, but um, I didn't understand the pick on the night of the draft. I still don't understand it now. There was like some kind of weird thing going on with the GMs with Shadur that we are just not going to pick him. But I thought that was the move they were going to make. I thought that's the move they should have made, and
Yeah.
they didn't. So maybe I think, like we talked about, I think they probably will be in contention for that first pick. I probably, off the top of my head, I have like them or the Browns getting the first pick. Um, Unless I'm forgetting, there's probably a team I'm forgetting, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think they're going to be easily one of the 2, 3 worst teams in the league. So I
Yeah.
probably have them winning like 3 or 4 games.
So I'm looking at their odds. They are their wins over under is 5.5. I would totally take that under. Um,
Hmm.
Surprisingly, the Browns are 4.5, but the Browns are 200 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. The Saints are 300 and 1, which is the lowest in the league. So that makes no sense. But whatever.
Browns might have a harder schedule.
Yeah, I guess. Um, I guess Browns to the Super Bowl clearly. Um, Moving on to the best division, the NFC Beast. Um, Last year, Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants was the rankings. Um, I have the Eagles at 1. I feel like there's not much pushback on that. Defending champions had an incredibly dominant season. I don't see any reason that they would slow down. They didn't lose any coaches, coordinators, anything like that. Um, they're running it back with basically the exact same team as last year. They're adding in uh, maybe my favorite pick, probably was my favorite pick in the draft with Jahad Campbell. I think that he was,
Of
a
course, they got Jahad
yeah.
Campbell.
I was so annoyed that they got him when they traded up with the Chiefs. That one, just 31-32 swap. I knew that they were going to sign him, that they were going to draft him because like the NFL just really messed up. He was a like the prototypical like defensive captain linebacker type guy. Um, I think he was the captain in Alabama as a freshman, and like everything I've heard about him is like he's incredibly smart. He like can read the field super easily, um, and I think that he's like a legitimate like leading like a leading linebacker who can run a defense on the field. And I think he projects to be like I really wanted him to go to the Niners because I think that he projects to be somebody who could
Oh,
fit in the lineage of Niners legendary linebackers. Like I think that he could be that good. I was so high on him pre-draft. I was shocked he even fell to 31. Um, I think there were like some injury concerns, but yeah, the Eagles. There's no reason that they shouldn't win this division. If they don't, I would be kind of surprised. Not in the sense that Commanders or Cowboys or Giants, especially, aren't that good, but like they, I just there's no reason for them not to repeat.
yeah, Jahad Campbell is like the next All Pro, like linebacker one in the league once Fred Warner starts to decline. And of course, he ends up on the Eagles because when has Howie Roseman ever not lucked into one of the best players in the draft and the best player in the draft at the position?
Sure.
It happened with Jalen Carter. It happens here. It seems like it happens every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Gets AJ
the
Brown
only,
for Traylon Burks.
yeah, like the only way that the Eagles don't finish at the top of the NFC East is if the NFC East curse is like actually a real thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to choose to believe that that's not a thing, and I'm going to pick the Eagles to storm this division. Um,
Wow.
I think I would have seen an argument for like the Cowboys if they were at the 100th percentile before all this news about Micah Parsons, but
Mhm.
even if Micah Parsons ends up staying, I think until Jerry Jones croaks, this team will never win another Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I would have the Eagles at one. I think they're probably going to win 13 or more games. Um,
Did something
yeah, I think just
did
staying the
something
course
did
this season.
something drop today about Micah? Oh
I
yeah.
saw something this morning. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it now. Where
yeah.
the star pass rusher is considering drastic measures, which would include a trade request or even a declaration that he is severing his relationship with the team. Wow,
Seahawk.
that would be crazy. Trade him. I honestly, Jerry Jones, you shouldn't pay him. He's not even that good, bro. Just like trade him to trade him as far away. Send him to Europe. Send him to the Giants. One of those two options. All good with me. Um,
Jerry. He could get hurt or he could
it's
become
true.
a criminal. You have to
It's
trade
true.
Micah Parsons.
Well,
He's not
to fair, wasn't he
worth the
already a
risk.
criminal? Yeah, he totally could. Go rob a bank tomorrow. Trade him to the Giants. We have Kayvon Thibodeau and a third round pick for you.
Oh my goodness.
Who says no? We'll send you
Yeah,
Evan
that would
Neal.
be Micah Parsons trade would be
Bless you.
excuse me.
Yeah, that could be historic. Like we,
That would be like an all-time ridiculous NFL trade.
yeah, like typically quarterback trades are the only ones that get real huge value. I mean, the Tyreek Hill trade was massive as well. Um, but like Micah Parsons trade, I don't even. To be fair, it is the Cowboys, so I wouldn't be that surprised if like they trade him for a sack of potatoes, because that's just like the way Jerry Jones is. But like that, I mean, if they value him at what they should, which they clearly don't because they won't pay him, but if they did in a trade market, three first is the opener, and then it's like maybe is that fair? I mean, Micah Parsons is good enough to
Three
like
three
he.
NFL firsts might be a lot,
I
but
don't.
it is Micah
That's
Parsons.
what
So
Stafford went for Goff in three firsts. Like I think it's
Stafford went.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Like
That's crazy.
it could be, or I think it might have been two, and then they flipped it around and ended up getting more out of it. But like I think that there's maybe not three, but like two firsts and a bunch else. Tyreek Hill went for. Let me look up the Tyreek Hill trade. Who was your number two team in the meantime?
Uh, how am I forgetting? Oh, the even I think even without McLaurin, I think the Commanders will just inch into number two now that I'm seeing with what's happening with the Cowboys. I think it'll be close between those two teams. I think the Commanders are due for a regression. I think the Cowboys are going to get better. I think they'll probably, or I thought the Cowboys were going to get better now. I think they'll probably hang around like 500, but I think those two teams will probably be around that 500 mark. Maybe the Commanders break double digits, but if Debo Samuel is your wide receiver one in the year of our Lord 2025, I have really horrible news about what's going to happen to you that season. As good as Jaden Daniels is, as electric as he was to watch last season, I don't think their running backs are very good. Austin Eckler is like he made like the All Pro team as a kick returner. That was insane. I don't think he's very good. I don't think
He's an
Brian
all pro
Robinson's very
player,
good.
man.
I don't. Debo's not very good at all.
They
Yeah,
have Luke
I think they're due
McCaffrey,
for a step back.
Michael Gallup. This is a real receiver core. Noah Brown. I'm just saying they got a lot of weapons there.
It's bad.
And
But as far as the Micah trade, I think the only way you're giving up three firsts is if you're in a similar situation to like the Rams, where when they got Stafford, like you're one big piece away from being a full blown Super Bowl favorite. So I don't know who fits that bill right now. Maybe the Ravens should trade for Michael Parsons because why not add more pieces to that team? But yeah, I think the Commanders and the Cowboys will be close. I'd probably lean Commanders, especially if Parsons is going out. But McLaurin and Parsons both leaving, and also the city of Dallas, man. I am so sorry that you maybe have to lose Luca and Micah
Oh my
Parsons in the
god,
same
man.
calendar year. That is
I
a
can't even imagine.
ridiculous loss of sports talent in one season. Like most that a city will probably ever see at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd have it coming out to. And then the Giants. You can talk about the
Yeah, so the
Giants.
Giants are winning the division, but I want to talk about. I have the Commanders at 2, Cowboys at 3. So I had Eagles 12-5, Commanders 11-6, Dallas 10-7. If Dak's healthy, there's no reason this team can't be at least the 2 seed in this division. Or like couldn't be, not at least, but like I think they'll be the 3. But if he's healthy, like we've seen, he leads one of the best offenses in the league every year that he's healthy. Even with this incredible lack of running backs, with Javante Williams probably being their RB1, which is just insane. Like that's awful. Miles
That's
Sanders is
horrible.
terrible. Jaden Blue might be their RB1 eventually. Like it's just everything there is terrible. But like trading for George Pickens, I'm a huge fan of that. And then so having CD and George Pickens,
Yep.
like that is a elite receiver duo, and you still have Jake Ferguson. Jalen Torbert's not a bad receiver 3 at all. Like this is a really solid passing offense, which I expect Dak to throw 40 passes a game, and it's good
Mhm.
for fantasy. But it'll be a high flying offense. The defense is still like all right. Like the front seven's not great outside of Micah Parsons, but like Demarcus Lawrence is whatever. Um, but if they can, if they're healthy, this team should be good. I think they'll make the playoffs at least. Um, Probably not do much,
Mhm.
but like they could definitely be a playoff team. They're my 3 though. The 2 for Commanders, you talked about most of it. Just pay McLaurin. Like, what are we doing? There's no reason not to. I get that he wants a lot of money. He's probably not worth the 30 plus that he wants, but like, just you can't not pay him. There's a reason. Like when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, that is like, and this is your contending window. Jaden Daniels is so much better than we thought he would be. Like this is why you go all in when you have a rookie quarterback, because you can pay these guys, and then by the time Jaden Daniels into contract, McLaurin his contract is up and he's 35, and you can let him go. Like that is how that works. And for them to
Mhm.
not want to pay McLaurin, there's he now requested a trade, which we've seen like T Higgins do, and I think Chase did it, and like a whole bunch of other guys do it when they're trying to get a contract. It's just more of a bargaining chip than actually a legitimate trade request. Um, like they end up paying their guys, and they like it's so dumb. He's gonna start the season slow because he's gonna miss training camp. Just pay him. Like there's no reason not to. If you don't, your season is and future is so bleak until you get an actual receiver there. Zach Ertz can't beat your best receiver. Debo Samuel cannot be your best receiver. Like it's just pay McLaurin what he wants. Um, they got Lattimore last year, so that's also kind of like at the deadline. So it's sort of like an off-season move too. People say that in the NBA, where like you do a trade deadline move, like you might not make a big move in the off-season because that kind of counts as your off-season move. But yeah, and also pay Micah. Like Jerry Jones sucks. Michael Parson, pay him. Um, the 4 seed though, uh, Super Bowl champion 2025 New York Giants. Um, So in my notes, I open up saying, besides the fact that the Giants are winning the Super Bowl, um, they're just not good enough to compete. Actually, just give me 1 second. All right, let's go.
What
Giants are
year
winning it
is that
all.
from?
Let's go. Fuck, that's tight. um, but
Dude, that was worn by Phil Sims. The old ass helmet.
um, yeah, the Giants just aren't there. I think the offense is going to be bleak. I'm a big, I like Tyron Tracy a lot. Obviously, Neighbors is awesome. Um, and Theo Johnson had a decent rookie season at tight end. Most of nice things you could say about this offense. Hopefully, Andrew Thomas could stay healthy. Otherwise, it's going to be so bad. Um, Getting Russ is like, I don't know. I have like I've got a lot of opinions because when we first signed him, I was against it because I wanted to either like tank. I mean, I guess like I wasn't against it in this like. All right, let me restart. I was against it in the sense that like it doesn't actually make us a legitimate contender, but at least we have like some hope, I guess. I was against drafting a quarterback because it puts us into the same cycle we had with Daniel Jones, where a regime who's like falling out drafts a quarterback on their last hope, and like realistically, Dable and Shane, this is probably their last year. Maybe they think they have two more, but I would be surprised if they have two more years. Um, and so, like, if Dart doesn't play the season, which I really hope he doesn't, but I have a feeling when we're bad, 3 or 4 wins going into week 12, they throw him in there prematurely, and everything goes bad. Um, but I was against it because if we fire Dable and Shane, then we draft Dart, and now a new team, a new regime comes in, and they don't like Dart, and it just starts the cycle all over again. It's what the Browns have been going through for 20 years. Um, but this Giants team just isn't that good to contend in this division yet. The front seven is going to be elite, like one of the best in the league, and I'm really really excited to see that. Brian Burns, Abdul Carter at number 2 overall, or sorry, 3 overall. Um, and Thibodeau as the edge rusher 3. He's not amazing, but he had a really productive season last year, so I think that'll be huge. Dexter Lawrence, you can't. How could you not mention him first? He's probably the best D tackle in the league, if not the second best. Um, and they've got a decent linebacker core with Fabio Carrique, Mike McFadden's, whatever. They got Paulson Debo in the offseason, so they have a legitimate cornerback 1 now. They just like they had a really good offseason, but I don't think it's good enough to compete yet. I wouldn't be surprised, like especially if Dart hits. They've got a really really bright future. They do need to add some more to the offense. Like they need another receiver. They need maybe a better running back. Um, they definitely need some work on the offensive line, but they've got the pieces to in the next like 2 years to maybe like steal a wild card spot. But it all ends up going on how Dart is. Do you have anything else to say about the Giants?
Uh, yeah, you touched on most of it. I think they'll be one of the better defenses in the league. Um, and honestly, I think they'll be a team that surprises a lot of people. I don't think they're going to be like this top 5 pick team again, but I think they'll probably be a team that wins like 7 games.
That's
Uh,
exactly what I have them at, 7-10. Which, if
yeah,
if that happens, like cool with me. That's a good season in my opinion because not winning 4 games or 5 games in a season, like I would be happy about that.
and Russell Wilson, obviously, I love him as a Seahawks fan. You know,
Hmm.
our best days are behind us, but I still think he's like a good enough quarterback to pilot you to a solid offense. Tyrone Tracy, running back that I was pretty high on last year. I think he's going to be pretty good. And then you obviously have Malik Neighbors, who I think is going to be one of the best receivers in the league. So I think they'll be solid. You know, I think being in the NFC East, the other 3 teams in there are just a lot better than them right now. But
Hmm.
the future, especially for their defense, is really bright.
Yeah, and it excites me because what they did in 2007 and 2011 mostly was win a Super Bowl. I mean, Eli was good. People hate on him way too much. Like he, especially in those playoff runs specifically, like he was elite. But the defense was really what was their calling card throughout the seasons. Their defensive line, especially, whether it was the first Super Bowl with Strahan or the second one where they had Tuck and JPP, OCU Minora, like they had a really solid defensive line, which just swarmed quarterbacks and made it so that you wouldn't have to win with 25, 30 points a game. You could win the game with 17 points because the defense was holding the opposing quarterback to, barely any time to throw, getting elite pressure play after play. That's how we beat Tom Brady in the second Super Bowl because he just was getting pressured nonstop. Every play, even if he gets the ball out, he gets hit. And I'm kind of hoping that's the case for this season. Um, Obviously, the rules are now a little different. You can't really hit quarterbacks as much, but I think that this is the making to be a very productive defense, which excites me. Um, moving on to the NFC West. Are you good to go?
You still hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Uh,
I won't have my headphones, but
no worries. Moving on to the NFC West. Starting out with the 49ers is my number one. Or so last season's rankings: Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, 49ers. I have the 49ers winning this division. Um, who did you have winning this division?
I've got the Rams.
Really?
I think the Rams are going to win the division. Yeah. You know, I'm still high on Matthew Stafford. He's got off the top of my head, I don't know if it's the best wide receiver duo in the league right now, but it's definitely up there with Puka and Devontae.
Chase and T Higgins is still probably better, but it's like Devontae and Puka is very close.
Yeah, it's definitely in that top three. And then, you know, I think they just have a lot of really young players on defense who are going to continue to get better. I think McVay is just a really good coach. Not going to lie, for the Niners, I could see their path to being the top team in the NFC West again. Just because, you know, a lot of that talent that was on their team that almost won the Super Bowl is still there. But I think Purdy, we kind of know his ceiling. I think McCaffrey is going to start getting worse. Ayuk, ever since you know he got paid and wasn't really the same player at the start of last season. I think he's out to start this year too.
Yeah, probably.
And you know
They just got Ricky Pearsall
Jennings and
back.
like, yeah, Jennings and Pearsall are like decent, but you know they are going to have one of the best front sevens in the league, you know, and they kind of drafted to have more guys at the inside of the defensive line. So we'll see what happens, but I think the Niners are just going to continue to get, you know, they won't get worse than last year because last year they just had horrible injury luck, but I don't think they're going to be contending for the top of the division again. I probably have them finishing, they'd be second or third. But I think the Rams will be the team that walks away with the division this year. I just think Stafford, Puka, and Devontae is going to be so hard to stop offensively, and they have a lot of young guys that are going to get better on defense.
Kyron as well. You didn't mention him for the Niners. They still have CMC, who basically took an entire year off last year. And
Did I cut out when I said that?
oh, maybe you said it and I just didn't hear it. But
Oh yeah, I just think McCaffrey's going to keep getting worse.
um, that's like maybe, but I like he had having an entire year off. I think he's gonna have like this could be a really good season for him because having that whole year off, like his body's gonna be able to get a legitimate rest. He didn't have crazy wear and tear like every season that he does, and he was posting like basically the second the season ended. Had they made the playoffs last year, he probably would have been able to come back, and he looked like he was in incredible shape. So I feel somewhat confident. I saw him. He's been working out a lot with Bijan. Um, yeah, the reason I'm not even confident in the Niners this season, like no Ayuk is going to be. I don't even know how it's going to work. Kittle's going to have to be the receiver one. He's going to have to get spam targeted. Same with CMC. But this schedule for the 49ers is so insanely easy. The hardest team they play is the Texans. Like, it's there's no way that they can't win at least 10 games. Let me just quickly like Seattle Saints Cardinals or obviously their own division, and then they play Saints, Cardinals, Jaguars, Falcons, Texans, Giants, uh, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Colts, Bears. Those are all the out of conference games. That is so easy. Oh, and Bucks. Like so, I guess maybe the Bucks are the hardest team. Still not tough at all. I have them winning 13 games. Maybe that's really too much, but like, and maybe they can lose some more in the division, and it'll be like 12 games, 11 games. But like I think they're considerably better than Seattle, and I have a take about the Rams. I'll get to them a little later. Um, I don't see how they lose. Maybe I have them losing both to the Bucks and Texans and still winning 13 games because this is just an incredibly easy schedule. There's no way they don't beat up on teams in the NFC or the AFC South and the NFC South, like both the two worst divisions in the NFL. And they have the fourth place schedule as well. It's just like it's such a cakewalk schedule that they even if they don't amount to anything in the playoffs, they should have a good regular season. The health totally though,
Yeah,
like no doubt about it, really really concerns me. Ayuk has to play at least like I don't know how soon. Like maybe he starts on PUP or something, but like he can't miss the majority of the season if they're going to win this division.
yeah. And their easy schedule is the only reason I have them over Seattle. I honestly think we're better than them at this point,
Mhm.
but um, yeah, I think we just have like a better defense. It's more filled out in the secondary. We have a better defensive mind. Losing Geno is gonna really hurt us this year. I think Darnold sucks. I think he's going to be terrible, and behind a completely incompetent offensive line, I think is what we'll see again this year. It's going to be ugly for him. But as far as defense goes, I think the Seahawks will be back to being a top 5 defense for the first time since
Legion
I
of
don't
Boom.
even know when, probably like 2015, 20.
So I had 49ers as my one. Did you say that you had the Seahawks as your two?
I had the Niners as my 2. I think we're better than them, but I think their schedule is just way too easy
Yeah, yeah.
for them to finish below us.
Okay, so you have
So I'll
Rams.
have the Niners 2, Seahawks 3.
Okay, so we have very different rankings for this division because so you have Rams, Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals. My two is the Cardinals. Um, I feel like they are getting pretty underrated this offseason. I think they, yeah, I buy into the Marvin Harrison year two hype. Obviously, he looks like bigger than Aaron Donald. Like, yeah, I mean, he looks like a tank. McBride had an incredible season last year, and James Conner was really solid too. If Kyler's healthy, I think this should be a really solid offense. And then their biggest problem was the defense last season, and they addressed it a lot this offseason. They signed Dalvin Tomlinson. They got Josh Sweat. Um, they got Calais Campbell. And so those three guys can really help shore up that defensive line. And then they drafted Will Johnson, who fell because of injury concerns, which if he's healthy, which he's playing in training camp, he looks fine so far. And he was one of the best, if not the best, corner in this draft, and would have been a top 10 pick had he not been injured or had the injury concerns. And so I think it was like a heart problem or something like that. Like it was definitely something major that is career altering. But if he's fine, I see no reason why he isn't like elite. And the Cardinals need another cornerback. I don't think that he's going to be a world stopper year one, but I just don't think the rest of this division is that good. No offense to your Seahawks, I am not. I honestly, I think Sam Darnold there is going to end really badly, and I think that the Cardinals are going to be kind of solid this season. I have them winning 10 games. Again, they have a relatively easy schedule as well, and so they play a few of the harder teams. Like they have to play the Bengals and Packers instead of Browns and whoever else the Niners got to play. But I think they beat up on a few of the worser teams. That'll be the case for a lot of these NFC West teams. The easy teams they get to play. Um, yeah, I just think the Cardinals are going to be a decent team this season. They were the team, them and the Lions, that I was flipping back and forth between who gets that last wild card spot. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to either one. I guess I'll say the Lions, but I think the Cardinals could be pretty solid this season. My three.
I think the
Yeah, go on. You go on.
I think the Cardinals were just a clear 4 for me because their defense is still going to be super young.
Yeah.
Actually, they had one of my favorite drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan was a good pick. Will Johnson was a slam dunk pick. Jordan Birch was a good pick. Simon was a good pick. Burke was a good pick.
Yep.
Those are all guys who I think will end up being players for them down the road. And I think the Cardinals will like kind of be a big breakout team next year. But this year, I still see a lot of holes in their roster. They've got a lot of youth. I think it's going to take a while for their team to click, and I don't think they're going to be like one of the better teams in the NFC West right away. And with how easy the schedule is, I think the more experienced teams that have been together for a little bit longer
Mhm.
will find their way to the top of the standings again. And then as far as the Rams go, I just think like how I think the Cardinals will like fully mesh and break out down the road. I think that this year is that for the Rams. I think they're going to have one of the best pass rushes in the league. I think they're going to have one of the best passing offenses in the league. So that's why I had them up top. But I would have Rams, Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals.
Okay. So you hit on most of the points for the Seahawks already. I just want to so the reason I have them at 3, and oh yeah, I have Seahawks at 3, going 8 and 9. I think I'm not very high on Darnold at all. You guys let up. I think you had I read it somewhere, second most pressures last season. I know you drafted Gray Zabel, which shocking because your GM never drafts interior offensive line in like the first 2 rounds or something, 2 days. I think is what the stat was. Um, but I still think that the offensive line could be a problem, and Sam Darnold has proven throughout his entire career that if you give him any sort of pressure, he just absolutely crumbles like a Jenga tower. Um, and I think like that could be the case. The somewhat lack of weapons worries me as well. I do like Elijah Arroyo a lot. I think that he could be pretty exciting. Cooper Cup showed last season that he pretty severely slowed down from his all time pace that he was on earlier in his career. I don't think that he's like as bad as Tyler Lockett, but I think that he's not very good anymore. JSN is obviously amazing. He's a legitimate receiver one. You traded DK away, which was a good move because paying him $30 million would be insane. The Pittsburgh Steelers are really stupid. But yeah, I like your defense, and I think like you're coached well. But I don't buy into the Darnold. I don't even want to say hype because I don't know if there is hype, but like I just don't buy into Darnold being a good quarterback for Seattle. I don't know if it'll be like we've seen it with Baker and Geno. When Dave Canales left, they were still good. Um, like they were, bad beforehand. They get into a really good quarterback system, and they turn out good. And then the guy leaves to go to his next team, and they stay good. So maybe that'll be the case with Darnold leaving KOC, where he is bad, plays with a good coach, and continues to be good. I just feel like he left a little too quickly to keep like being good. Um, so yeah, I say Seattle 3. I don't think that they. Maybe I'm wrong, and like they could totally be better than the Cardinals, and I wouldn't be that surprised. But I just think that Darnold could have a rough season. I have the Rams at 4, and it comes with a huge stipulation. So I have the Rams going 5-12. Um, but like before this season, like months and months ago, probably back in like March or April, I was saying the Rams win this division. Now, with all the news about Stafford and his shoulder, he's missing training camp. Like they're somewhat worried. Um, and we saw it somewhat like in and out throughout the last few seasons where he misses time because of whatever nagging injuries, and he's getting up there in age. If he like is missing time and doesn't look like his normal self because of this shoulder injury, which can totally be a nagging injury, like I just there's no hope for this team if he doesn't play. I think that he's gonna get hurt this season. Is why I have them low. Um, I just have a feeling. I don't know why. Like I think it's just the age and shoulder injury combo like makes me very worried. But if he's healthy, they probably win this division. Um, yeah, like you hit on most of the points already, but they have a really solid team, especially in the offense. Like Kyron Williams, Devontae, Puka. Um, they got Tyler Higbee back late last season. Like they have a legitimate, really good offense, and their defense is pretty solid as well. But it's just I don't think I just don't think Stafford's going to play an entire season.
Yeah. And to bounce back to some of the things you said about the Seahawks, we should have paid DK. I really wanted to pay DK. I never wanted him to leave. I think he's not the, but one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league because his value just goes way beyond what he does statistically. He basically was like our entire offense and how people would get open. So that will definitely be worse this year. Darnold might not be our starter at the end of the year. I thought we have the most boomer bust draft class out of everyone. I
Yeah.
think we'll either end up having a lot of injury prone guys or a lot of guys who don't develop, or we'll end up having one of the best draft classes ever,
Do you
depending on how these.
do you buy into the Jalen Milroe Russell Wilson comparison?
Well, no, not the Russell Wilson comparison. That doesn't. I understand like they're both third round Seahawk draft picks who had good training camps, but
And like they play
like play
somewhat
style
similarly
wise,
ish. It's kind of a stretch.
what'd you say?
I said they play like somewhat similarly. Like both can run,
Yeah,
both have a deep ball.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is like play style wise, they're just not really similar players. Jalen Milroe is like a very unique quarterback in his like athletic profile, and his mechanics are way off. But from the clips we've seen in training camp, it kind of looks like they've already touched up his mechanics a little bit. He's kind of gunning down the sideline a lot more.
Mm.
So I'm excited to watch him play whenever he gets his shot. Right now he could just be like a gadget guy, like a sort of Taysom Hill role, but
Like Fields last
um,
season, kind of.
yeah, and but I think he will be the starter going forward. And it'll be either I think he'll either develop into a really good player or he's going to be a very bad player who doesn't last very long. But I think that's the case for a lot of the guys we drafted. Um, I forget what his name is. I think it's Torrey. Torrey Horton. I think he has a chance to be good. We got a couple good players late, like Ricky White was a player I really liked. Damian Martinez was a running back I really liked. Guy from Notre Dame, I forget what his name, Riley Mills,
Yep.
defensive end from Notre Dame. I thought he was pretty good. And even Worry from South Carolina. So there's a lot of injury prone athletic players who are on the team now, and we'll see how it works out. But I'm excited to watch them play. I
Yeah.
just really wish we kept it up.
I could see Darnold starting this entire season, depending like if he super sucks, maybe they throw in Milroe, but that feels a little premature. I feel like they might go Drew Lock instead. But it depends on how good Milroe looks at like practices and training camp and whatever. But I'm looking at Darnold's contract now. He's got a potential out after 2027. So
Yep.
or after 2026 going into 2027. So like I guess he could be the backup after this season. Maybe he is a quarterback competition going into next season. But I would be surprised if at least like halfway through Darnold is not still the starter. I could see maybe by the end, especially if you guys are out of the playoffs and like Darnold has just had a rough season. You're like week 14, 15. Let's see what Milroe's got. That would make sense to me. Okay, well, that's all for the NFC. Um, we can move on to the AFC. We'll start same path: north, south, east, west. I have the last season was Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. I'm gonna be honest. I have the exact same rankings as last season. I think the only thing you could say otherwise is maybe the Bengals get the 1 seed, but like there's no way like unless do you think the Steelers could get the 2 seed? Because I would be shocked.
If you asked me to create an NFL team and you wanted me to pick a quarterback, the quarterback that I would choose out of all of NFL history would be Lamar Jackson from last season. And I don't think I've ever been this high on a player in my life.
The
I
fucking
think the Ravens are
goat.
going to win this.
That's the goat.
Yep. I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yep.
And, people have been saying this for forever now, but
Mate, I've said it for
it
the
feels
last
like
3 seasons.
yeah, and they've been like they're the like advanced stats darling of the NFL, where every year they have one of the best offenses or one of the best defenses or like one of the best like one of the most efficient teams ever. And I think this is the year that everything just kind of comes. Everyone stays healthy. And you added even more like Jair Alexander's there now. Likely is going to keep getting better. Likely, honestly, I think is the best tight end on their team now.
Yeah, he's
Bateman's
gonna miss some time. They're hoping that he's back week 1. He got like a fracture in his foot like a week or so ago, a couple days ago. But it should be like he'll be fine. But yeah, I agree. Sorry, go on with what you're saying, but I agree with everything you're saying so far. Like the additions they've made have been good.
The one weak spot of their team, I think, could be their pass rush. A lot of it is going to be dependent on how Mike Green is across from Owe, or however you say that guy's name. But he kind of came onto the scene last year. He had a double digit sack season last year, and with how good their secondary is, like you have Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton
Yeah, I
and
love
Jair Alexander.
Malachi Starks, dude. I was so high on him too.
Yeah, like you have two ridiculous safeties. Xander, hopefully he stays healthy. He's not going to have to follow ones as much this year. I think Wiggins is going to become their number 1 corner this season, and
He
then
kind of already was last season, honestly.
yeah, but like now that Humphrey has been one of the best nickel corners in the league for a long time now, and like I said about Lamar, I think he's the best player in the league. I think he's having the best peak of a quarterback ever, and
Wow.
I think he's what we saw last season was probably the ugliest MVP decision ugliest award decision I've ever seen in the history of award shows. I think that was the most undeserved award winner ever
Yeah,
in anything, I would say. So I'll probably hate Josh Allen for the rest of my life, but I think this is the year for the Ravens, and this is the year for Lamar Jackson, where they kind of finally put the icing on the cake that they've been
it
cooking
was
for the last 7
it
years.
was a little bit. I mean, like, and I know it's a little different, like different sports, but it was a little bit like the Embiid MVP, where Jokic still had such an insane season, and the narrative for like 2 years at that point was like Embiid deserves it, Embiid deserves it, Embiid deserves it, and people kept pushing back on Jokic getting like just like getting MVP after MVP after MVP, and so for him to three-peat, they were like, I know Lamar wasn't going to three-peat; it was going to be his third MVP though, and second in a row. Um, like there was so much pushback that people were saying like it was a media driven like agenda kind of that got Embiid the award. Not to say it actually was, because Embiid had a insane season in 2022, and deserved his MVP, or 23, whatever it was. He deserved his MVP. But I feel like Allen like deserved the MVP in the sense that he had a great season, but Lamar was better in like every single stat. And I don't want to rehash the MVP conversation; it's so dead and buried at this point. But like, I feel like Lamar deserved it. He had such an unbelievable season at every front, and getting Derrick Henry is sort of comparable to Tom Brady getting Randy Moss. Um, like it's just it unlocks such a different aspect of the team, and it's even different from the Randy Moss acquisition for the Patriots, where like Lamar is such a good runner that getting Derrick Henry, the second that they signed him, people were saying, "How are you going to stop read option? Are you going to commit to Derrick Henry and now Lamar keeps it and you're just cooked, or are you going to commit to Lamar Jackson and now Derrick Henry is just running right up the middle with two people there and it's a touchdown?" Like there is no right answer at all. Um, this offense, like the weapons aren't even that amazing, but they don't have to be because Lamar is just good enough to get it down on his feet, and he's a good enough passer that like he can. He's proven throughout his career he can basically work with any weapon. Like any weapon
Mhm.
group, it doesn't matter. Even before Zay Flowers was there, he was leading the league in touchdown passes. So like I feel confident in Lamar, just dominating again, potentially being MVP again. Rashad Bateman looked really good last season. Um, they added DeAndre Hopkins, which is kind of whatever, but it's a good receiver 3, something that they haven't really had for a couple of years now. And Mark Andrews was whatever. Likely, I am high on his potential. Offensive line still looks good. The defense is going to be just ridiculous. I really hate Mike Green. I hope that he has a horrible career and is a flame out in 2 years from now. But as a football player, he's pretty good. So yeah, I have nothing else to really say
The
about the
one
Ravens.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about the Ravens, the only thing really stopping this team from reaching the Super Bowl, like truly in their way, could be Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs, he just turns into a potato. I don't know why. He will randomly go away from things that have worked all season. Last year, we saw he just stopped giving Derrick Henry the ball in a snow game against the Bills.
Yeah.
And we proceeded to see why Mark Andrews is one of the worst playoff droppers ever in any sport. So it was, yeah, really frustrating. It's been frustrating, I know, for Ravens fans for a while. So hopefully Harbaugh locks in this season because I really think he should be fired. But it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I've said it before. Um, I have the Ravens going 14-3. Moving on to Cincinnati, do you also have them as your 2 seed or your two,
Yeah,
your second, and then
I'm
fourth?
not. Yeah, I'm not very high on Cincinnati, but I can't put an Aaron Rodgers led Steelers team at 2. So
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like because we're just kind of it's the same things as last season. There's not much to comment on, but the Bengals are running it back with the same core, same offense. They're going to be putting up 30 and letting up 29 or letting up 31. It's going to be a high flying offense like always. Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, all still there. Um, the offensive line is still mid. They will not sign. They will not pay Trey Hendrickson, which is very worrisome. I mean, we went through this with Jamar Chase. We went through it with T. Higgins. It's so repetitive. It's annoying. I mean, they didn't pay Jesse Bates. Like it's been a thing for so long now. And if they don't pay Trey Hendrickson, they're just so cooked. They finally paid Shamar Stewart after months. They paid him in July, which is just insane. Um, but yeah, they are horribly managed. They should sell the team. But outside of that, like their defense is going to be bad again. But if the offense is good, like you can just outscore your opponent, and that was kind of their strategy last season, and it'll probably be their strategy again this season. I don't have much else to say.
yeah, I really don't have much to say about the Bengals. I think they're going to be a team that just hangs around 500. Maybe they make the playoffs. I don't know.
I had them going. I think at 12-5. I could see them being like 11-10 wins. I just think. Let me pull up their schedule. I'm pretty sure it's relatively easy. They play the NFC North, which is not that easy. But their own division, they have four basically what should be free wins. I know they always end up losing a game to the Browns or the Steelers, but like they really shouldn't. And then they also play the AFC South, which is somewhat an easy division. So I think that they could pick up some wins. I have them going 6-0 in the division, which would put them at 6-5 outside of the division. So
You have them going 6-0 in the North.
maybe 5-1. If they've beat,
I think the Ravens will clearly. Yeah, the Ravens will sweep them.
you think haven't the Bengals been sweeping the Ravens? Like,
Ravens swept them last year.
oh,
They
did
won
they?
the two
Oh,
shootout games. Yeah,
yeah.
they beat them in overtime, and then they beat them
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
Thursday
yeah,
night.
yeah. You're right. Okay, so I would say like 5-1 in the division, which would put them at 11-6.
Okay.
Who cares? Whatever. Moving on to I have the Steelers at 3. Um, these last two teams I don't even really want to spend much time on because they're like I have the Steelers at 4-13 and I have the Browns at 2-15. Like I think these teams are going to be absolutely putrid. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers does not move me at all. He was mid for the Jets until like week 15 or 12 or something, like super late in the season. Um, Losing Najee is like not that much of a loss, but replacing him with Caleb Johnson, I loved him. I think that he's going to be really solid for them. They still have Jalen Warren as well, who was pretty solid last season. They got DK Metcalf, which it's fine, I guess, but they lose George Pickens, which arguably is better. The defense should be decent again, but like I'm not even that high on their defense enough to like carry them through the season. And I know Mike Tomlin gets them to 500 every single year, but I really don't think that he will be able to this season. Like just the offense is so bad. I know they got Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey from the Dolphins, which I didn't even feel like was a good trade. And I saw Arthur Smith is running 4 tight end sets where Jonnu Smith is the running back. So like, what? Like, it's just I don't think they're gonna have a good season. I think Tomlin could be gone after this season as well, and Aaron Rodgers should have retired after the Jets. Anything to say about the Steelers?
one last ride, one last 9-8 season for Mike Tomlin. Um, let's get over 500 one more time because it's been so exciting to watch for the last 15 years.
Sure.
The Steelers just be the most mid team ever. It's so obviously not that good, and yet we're still going to have to watch them in the playoffs every single year. Hopefully this year that doesn't happen.
Their over under is 8.5. So
It has to be because, and I'm slamming the over because Mike Tomlin is a guaranteed 9 wins, but yeah, it's gotten to a point where the Steelers have just plateaued for the last decade and a half. So
yeah,
it's yeah, I'll be tuning in to watch DK just to see how he's doing, but other than that, Steelers just a boring team.
agreed. Browns at the 4 seed. Terrible roster, horrible quarterback play. I don't think their coach is particularly that good, and yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this team at all. Like, they are already facing injuries in the secondary. Martin Emerson got hurt. He's gonna miss the entire season, I think, with an Achilles. Uh, they still have Denzel Ward and Miles Garrett and JOK. Like, they have good pieces still, but they lose Nick Chubb and they replace him with um oh my god, I'm blanking on him.
Jerome Ford.
Well, they still had Jerome Ford, but they the Ohio State running back who is probably
Oh,
still hasn't been signed. Doesn't matter.
Travion Henderson.
Yeah, no, he's the Patriots guy.
No, Judkins.
Yeah, Quinton Judkins, who's still not
Yeah.
signed from his domestic abuse situation going on. And then I really should remember this. They drafted somebody in the 4th round that I am also blanking on. Dylan Sampson, right? Is that right? Yeah, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee.
Did they draft 2 running backs?
They did. They drafted 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, and another tight end. Great draft. Actually, like maybe the worst draft I've ever seen in my entire life. Dylan Gabriel is not an NFL player. Shedeur is. I think Shedeur will be starting at some point this season. I guess they're starting out with Flacco or maybe Kenny Pickett. Both options are terrible. This is just a joke of a team. It's gonna be a joke of a season. Like, I had them starting out like 0-10, and then I was like, all right, I have to give them some wins. So like, let me these games that like they have like a 30% chance to win. I guess I'll give them a win. Like, they can't. They have gone winless before, so I guess it is possible. But their defense is good enough to like not to get them at least a few wins. Yeah, this team is just terrible. Like Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman. I like Cedric Tillman, but like Jerry Jeudy, Tillman, and Njoku aren't good enough to lead an offense. But yeah, I have nothing else to say about the Browns.
Start Shadur Sanders so that at least something exciting is happening. Miles Garrett, I actually can't believe that he willingly chose to re-sign with this team.
He's getting like $35 million a year.
I would take like $5 million a year just to leave Cleveland. I
would pay $5 million to leave Cleveland.
Yes, this is a disgustingly horrible football team. Like, I just went through their depth chart, and like their best offensive player is like Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah,
this is going to be a team that I probably don't watch one time all year unless Shadur is playing, because I actually will not sit there and watch Joe Flacco. And as an Oregon fan, I will never watch Dylan Gabriel throw a football ever again. So I'm good off this team. I think this is a team that wins like 2 or 3 games at most. And this is like a true 0-17 contender, and a sign that the NFL is going back to normal, because the league is at its best when the Cleveland Browns are awful, and this is how the NFL is supposed to be. So
100%. Yeah, I said. My last note is they will be the worst team in the NFL, like the good old days. Yeah, they don't have any primetime games. It's them, Saints, and Titans, the only teams with 0. So
I thought every team was supposed to have one primetime game.
No,
they're really that bad.
It's crazy. You really want to see Tyler Shuck and Joe Flacco battles on Thursday Night Football or something? Hell no. Maybe like a Tuesday night game when they have to reschedule stuff.
Sunday night flex game when Shitter's
Yeah,
playing at the end of the season.
I would watch that. All right, we can get off that division. Moving to the AFC South. Last year, Texans, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. Um, I have the Texans repeating as the champion again. I would
Yep.
be pretty surprised if they don't. I do think that they could potentially be rivaled by one team, but I think CJ Stroud's going to have a bounce back season. I think
100%.
like he just had a down year last year in all metrics, and I don't think that'll happen again. Joe Mixon's already dealing with an undisclosed injury, so that kind of does worry me for their running back room. They do have Nick Chubb, which is kind of whatever. He didn't show much last season. Like he showed that he didn't really have it anymore. But typically the knee tears like a year. You come back and then that first year's bad. The second year is where you start to really return to form maybe. But his was so awful that it's probably never going to be the same for him. Um, I'm huge on Nico Collins. I think he's going to have a ridiculous or like an absolutely ridiculously good season. They traded away Laramie Tunsil kind of out of nowhere, and then they replaced him with Trent Brown. They drafted two Iowa State receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They brought in Christian Kirk to replace that Tank Dell position. So, like they, obviously the Tank Dell situation is horrible. He's probably going to miss the entire season. I think he already is on IR, so he's going to miss the entire season. The offensive line is still terrible. The defense is going to be decent. Yeah, it's actually putrid how bad it is. So that does worry me a little bit for the CJ Stroud bounce back. But I think he's good enough to make it work regardless. I think this is just same as the NFC South. If you win 10 games, you probably won the division by 2 games. And I have the Texans at 10-7.
Yeah. They'll probably hang around like just over 500, just like they did last year. The offensive line is even worse than it was last year. The kid they
Yeah.
drafted from Minnesota, I think will be a solid tackle, but nothing crazy. It'll be interesting to see how Nick Chubb plays. I think he might be playing to start the season, depending on when Joe Mixon is back. But it's always like when the D'Amico coach
Blake
team is
Fisher
always Blake Fisher. Yeah,
from
he's their
Notre
starting
Dame.
guy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The like a D'Amico team is always going to be a defensive focused team, and they have a lot of strong pieces defensively right now. Anderson's going to get better. Stingley's going to get better. I think they'll be one of the better defenses in the league again. But Stroud, they have a new offensive coordinator who's going to have to kind of build around like a lack of protection, which Slovic was one of the worst in the league, so I think it can only go up from here. So I think Stroud will have a better year this year. Hopefully Nico stays healthy, but I think it'll ultimately end up with around the same result wins wise. I think the Texans just 9 to 11 wins probably sometime.
Oh, you're talking about Ariante Ursary. That was my mistake.
Yeah. I think he'll probably start at some point this season.
Yeah, I can see it. They the Texans win total is 9.5. So yeah, I could totally see it happening.
Yeah.
Let's see. They to win their division, assuming it's probably negative odds, it's plus 100. It's honestly worth it. The maybe not because I could see the 2 seed or the number 2 team in this division. I have the Jaguars. I could see the Jaguars potentially winning this division if everything goes right for them. They got Liam Cohen, who really fixed Baker. Or not necessarily fixed him because Canales kind of fixed him, but he really led this elite offense in Tampa, and I think that he's going to be able to do it again in Jacksonville. Trevor, potentially this is the year for Trevor to finally have his breakout, which we've been waiting for his entire career. They drafted Travis Hunter at 2 overall, which he's going to play both ways. Maybe they're probably mainly receiver at least early on. They still have BTJ, who had a just ridiculously monster rookie season. They've kind of got a whole brigade of running backs. I don't really know who's going to be the RB1 in any given week. Probably ETN still, but it could be a few different guys. The defense still looks all right. And the offensive line is not that bad either. They got Diami Brown to be a receiver 3, which is pretty cool. I like that signing a lot. They lost Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk, but Brenton Strange was pretty solid last season. So I think that they won't miss Ingram too much. They got James Gladstone as the GM, who kind of looks like Bangle, the YouTuber. So that's fun too. Um, but yeah, I think that my prediction for them is that they go 7-10. And like I have them starting out the season 0-4, and then like 1-5 through the first 7. But then in the after their bye week, they go what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-3. So or 6-4. So like they turn it up at the end of the season. Um, I think that they go into the next season looking a lot better and maybe even likely winning this division next season. But this season, I don't think that they will hit the ground running fast enough to keep up with the Texans.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still have the Colts at 2.
Wow.
I think the Colts are just kind of like a consistently solid team from year to year. They kind of like remind me of the Steelers in a way, where they're just like this boring team that somehow bolts their way into 9 wins, no matter who their quarterback is or who is on their team. I don't really have any solid reasoning for that, other than I'm really done with Trevor Lawrence. I think it's like probably over for the Jaguars. I'll be excited to watch them this year because of Travis Hunter, and like I'll be excited to see if he plays both ways as much as I'm hoping he does. But I'm pretty much out on Trevor Lawrence at this point, and I'm not even saying that I'm like really in on Anthony Richardson as like the Colts savior, but for some reason this team is always able to just
No. All right. Order is restored. Yeah, go on.
I'd have the Colts winning like 8 games, and then I'd have the Jaguars winning like 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think there's that much separating them. I don't know. I'm kind of done with what the Jaguars have right now, and I think the decision not to pick Aiden Hutchinson has aged more poorly with each passing season. So
Yeah, I
I
mean
think
Trayvon Walker's not that bad, but they should have taken Hutchinson. Um, I I just don't like. I'm Anthony Richardson's #1 fan. I always will be. Like I will never ever give up on him. But I just don't. I think that they're gonna like the second he has a bad game, and the reports coming out of camp is that he's like Daniel Jones doesn't look good, and like Anthony Richardson, it's his job to lose because he's not playing too bad. But I feel like the second he has a bad game, they're gonna just stick in Daniel Jones, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they flip flop back and forth a little bit this season. Um, and yeah, I just this team's not that good in my opinion. Anthony Richardson, for as much as I love him, like he hasn't shown that he can lead a good offense. He has crazy moments like the week 1 pass to Alec Pierce, where it's just like unbelievable, best thing I've ever seen in my life. But then the next drive, he is overthrowing a slant route that is wide open by 6 yards, and it's just like you can't you got to fix the intermediate stuff and the short stuff before he's like a legitimate QB1 in this league. Um, so yeah, I have the Jaguars at 2. I don't like the Colts aren't that bad. They still have Jonathan Taylor. They still have a decent defense. But I had a feeling Steichen could have been fired last season, and I'll let you know he's. I have in my notes he's going to be fired if they have a season the way I'm projecting them to. My 3 seed is the Titans. I think, and it's not to say that they're going to have a good season because I have the Titans at 5-12 and the Colts at 4-13. I think the Titans are not even that good of a roster. I think I like Cam Ward though. I think that it's the same so similar situation as the Jaguars. I think they're going to start out really, really slow and then pick up some wins later on in the season. They have teams like the Browns, the Saints. Um, I think they split with the Colts, and so I think games like that they can win. Um, but I like Cam Ward. I think that the report is that they're going to split running back duties a little more this season and going so heavy on Pollard, which I do like because Pollard was really good when they split in Dallas, and I don't think Spears is bad at all. So I do like that idea. I think I buy into the really good season hype. Um, Xavier Restrepo was like a fourth round pick, but I liked him a lot. And then I don't know. The defense isn't the worst in the league. Like it's there's not that I'm not that high. I have 5 wins for them, but it's just like I think Cam Ward is not going to be that bad.
Uh, yeah. The Titans roster to me is just like littered with mid, and I don't know. I don't really see like any crazy playmakers on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like your receiving core is going to be Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson.
It's a good.
I mean, sure, like it's okay.
Did you see
Um,
Tyler Lockett posted on Instagram? Um, like him doing a route, and it was the "Outstanding" by Gap Band. Oh my god, that was
yeah,
so
it
like
was the Wash song.
yeah, it's the Paul George song. Yeah, that's gonna be Tyler Lockett's anthem this season. He should like he had the custom cleats of like his draft position and all that stuff for the last game last season. I don't know why he didn't just go out after last season. Like he,
I think that was meant to be kind of his goodbye to Seattle. I don't think
uh,
he was ever planning on retiring, but I think he knew that his time with Seattle was done.
he should have like. I mean, his career last season was so bad for him. He wasn't even on the field that much. Like I just feel like he
He
should have just
should
called it
have
quits.
retired.
Like
Yeah.
he's gonna have a bad season. Van Jefferson's gonna be the receiver too. Restrepo could be the receiver too. Honestly, um, let me pull up his roster. Like there's not their receiver core is abysmal. Um, was last name Restrepo? I meant uh Alika Ayamanor, not Restrepo. Restrepo is the guy who was in Miami with Cam Ward. He's like borderline making the roster. I meant to say Ayamanor. Uh, yeah, he's really good. I could see him being their receiver too, pretty soon. Um, just because there's not much else. James Crochet, yeah, this team sucks. But yeah, moving on to who do you have as your three? The Jaguars.
The Jags, yeah. I had the Jags and then the Titans last.
Do you have anything else to say about the Jaguars? Uh, okay. Well, then we can move on. I have the Colts fourth. Um, I don't have like a ton to say. I mean, like my notes, I have like they are having a quarterback competition with Daniel Jones involved. I don't need to say much more. I watched him for I don't know 5 6 years. I think it was 6 years. Probably the worst 6 years of my life. He like name the worst person you could ever think of, multiply it by 10, and you have Daniel Jones. So, like he's
10
just
Mark Andrews? That's a
and
lot.
like I rewatched that Ravens Bills game the other day. It was on NFL Network. It just made me want to cry. Yeah, but
It
Daniel
feels
Jones
like
sucks.
watching my own team lose. It was
No,
just so bad.
100%, 100%. Um, yeah, I think the Colts just aren't going to be very good. I think Steichen's probably gone at the end of the season. Unless Anthony Richardson shows up, I really hope he does. And if he does, like they could be second or third in this division. But I don't. I just don't know if this is the team for him. I like if he could leave and go somewhere else. I will then buy back into it and say that he's now in a new system where he could, grow into his potential self. But I don't think it'll be on the Colts. But I don't really have much else to say about this division. Only one of the teams will make the playoffs, like always. All right, moving on to the AFC East. Oh, unless did you want to talk about the Titans for your 4 seed at all? Okay. Moving on to the AFC East. Last season's rankings: Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Um, I have the a little bit different this season, and maybe some surprise picks here. Uh, but start out with the obvious: the Bills are going to be the 1 seed. They will repeat this division for the 6th time in a row. Like nobody else is even close to their level. Josh Allen coming off an MVP season. They bring in Joey Bosa. They sign Josh Palmer, um, which is a good deep threat, I guess. They don't really have many of those. Keon Coleman could be could have another good season for them. They still have, um, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name now. Khalil Shakir, who had a really good, solid season for them last year. James Cook, obviously, he scored like 20 something touchdowns. Um, and the defense is still really solid. But I don't know. They're gonna win. I have them at 14 wins, 14-3. They're gonna just steamroll
Yeah,
this division once again, like always.
yeah, yeah. The White Bison will be on top of the division again. Um, I will be hate watching them all season, but there is like no way with this schedule that they will finish with anything less than like 13 wins. They have a ridiculously easy schedule and a division that's just complete cake for them.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm sure we'll get highlights of every arm punt this season. Um,
Yeah.
the media darling will finish on top again, probably win another MVP. It is what it is, but like this division is just
Mm-hmm.
so awful that there's like no other team that can really compete with the Bills.
Yeah. They play.
I don't know how good their chances are to win the AFC,
Yeah.
but I'd say like off the top of my head right now, they're probably second best team in the AFC overall, second or third. So um,
I have
yeah,
them as a
if
better
they don't,
record than the Chiefs, but I still like I will just never bet against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Um, like I always take the like against especially the Bills. I will always take the Ravens because I root for them, but the Chiefs just like will always own the Bills in the playoffs. And until the Bills actually beat them, I will just continue to say the Chiefs beat them.
yeah, they definitely won't beat the Chiefs, even though I think at this point they're probably better than the Chiefs. They have a better quarterback. They have, you know, a better team. Um,
Well, yeah, according to
they're
Madden,
just never going to beat them.
Mahomes is the 4th best quarterback in the league.
Not a bad take.
That's a horrible take.
Not a bad take. I don't. Mahomes is not been playing too good the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think that he'll have a bounce back year this year though. They like all the reports is like they're installing a new offense, like a scheme where he's actually going to pass the ball downfield more. They're taking less short stuff, and if Rice, Hollywood Brown, uh, um, who am I, Xavier Worthy, um, Jalen Royals, like if they are all healthy, they will have a legitimate deep threat option on the field at all times, and it could be a pretty high flying offense for Mahomes. But that's much later on. Um, yeah, the Bills are just like they're going to steamroll this division. They play the NFC South and the AFC North, so like 1.5 easy divisions. But they do play the Eagles and Bengals, uh, or obviously Bengals. They play the Eagles and Chiefs as well. So like they play Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Chiefs. That's 4 really tough games. So they've got an easy divisional schedule, but they've got some tough games, no doubt about there in there. So they've got a fun season ahead of them. Um, we can move on to my number 2 seed or 2 team in the AFC East. I have the Patriots. I uh, I buy into the see. I keep saying the hype, but I don't know if there's much hype around these teams that I'm talking about. I feel like I'm high on Drake May a lot. I think that he had a really solid season last year, and like even if they weren't resulting in wins or consistent touchdowns and things like that, he was making throws that like if you can make that kind of throw, I just know that you are going to be a good quarterback. And he was doing it relatively consistently. They've got a good O line. They shored up the weapons a lot more than they had last season. Where last season he was throwing to a bunch of like Walmart.
Jamf helps you succeed with Apple device management. Wait.
Oh my god, good spot rack. So yeah, they showed up the receiver core a ton more than they had last season, and I think that the defense is not that bad. I mean, obviously they still have like Christian Gonzalez and they have like Christian Barmore. They still have a solid safety duo too. So they brought in Matt Collins. They signed Kyle. They drafted Kyle Williams, who I'm so high on out of Washington State. I think that he's probably going to end up being their receiver two this season. They brought in Stephon Diggs, who, um, will be a good underneath guy. And then they got Travion Henderson out of Ohio State, which is huge because they really need a pass catching running back. He was elite at that throughout college. He's going to be such a safety blanket for Drake May throughout the entire season, and he can really make a lot of things happen out of the backfield. So I'm pretty excited for that move by them. So I think the offense overall is just going to be pretty solid. The defense is going to be able to hold their own, and I have them at 9-8, shockingly making the playoffs.
I think the Bills will be the only team that go over 500 in this division. I think the rest of the teams are either mid or just like I think. Was it? I'm forgetting right now.
Bengals, or Dolphins, Jets.
Oh, Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to be just bad, but it's between the Jets and the Patriots for that second spot for me, and I just think Drake May is going to be good, and Justin Fields at this point we kind of just know he's bad. So, although the Jets I think will have a better defense than the Patriots, I think the Patriots just have a really big advantage at the most important position on the field. And Drake May is someone I could see being like a top 10 quarterback within the next couple of years. So I'd probably have the Patriots winning like 7 games, being 2. I'd have the Jets winning like 6 games at 3. Then the Dolphins are just a train wreck of a team right now with all the injuries and players they've lost.
Yeah, I really wanted the Giants to get Drake May. I obviously didn't end up working out because he was at 3, and then we ended up getting Neighbors, so it wasn't the worst case scenario. But stupid Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock won us too many games at the end of the season, and we ended up falling out of the area to get him. But yeah, like you said, Drake May I think is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league relatively soon, and I think he's going to prove it this season that he's at least on the pace to be that. Like I think he's going to enter the top 10, top 12 conversation this season. I'm high on him. I think that they've got a good coach. I think that I mentioned all the rookies and the signings they made. I think that they're in a good position to compete this season and then potentially contend later on. So who is your 2 seed?
The Patriots.
Okay. I have the Dolphins at 3. I like if 2 is healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if they get the 2 seed. But he's played 1 season with more than 13 games, and so like it's really hard for me to bet on his health when it's happened like 1 out of 5 or 6 times. And we saw what happened last year when he went down. The entire offense just completely sank, came to a complete halt. Devon Achane went from top 5 running back to like the 40th best. Tyreek Hill completely just like retired mid-season. It felt like Jalen Waddle just disappeared 100%. The defense isn't like so. I mean, they were actually not that bad last season, but they are not so good that they can carry the load if Tua goes down. But if Tua is healthy, this could be like a competing for a playoff spot team. They have proven to be a good offense, but Tyreek Hill getting older and he really like showed slowing down, signs of slowing down last season. It does worry me going on to another season of him, and I feel like if they miss the playoffs, Mike McDaniel is gone.
Mm-hmm. I think I have the Dolphins last, even if Tua does somehow stay healthy the whole year. Like if you look at their defense, they have like three good players. Like Jalen Phillips is solid, but he's had a lot of injuries. Zach Sealer is probably their best defensive player, and then you have like a declining Minka Fitzpatrick. Their secondary, especially their corners,
Yeah, yeah,
are
yeah.
the
Honestly,
worst in the league.
not like I wrote that after before the Cater Kohu injury. That is really going to hurt them so much because he was really solid for them. And so losing him, and now like you've got Jack Jones. I guess Mike Hilton is probably starting. Like it's
I think
not
it's Jack Jones starting,
Storm Duck, and then like
Hilton,
it'll be
Storm Duck. Like that. That's just a horrible.
yeah,
Their secondary is going to be probably the worst in the league next year.
yeah. And the offensive line is not amazing either.
Yeah, and like Tyreek's declining. Um,
Yeah, Jalen Waddle hasn't
they
done
have
it in a
they have
while.
one guy generating. They have like two guys generating consistent pressure. So I mean, I guess that's fine. But
Yeah,
like,
I forgot that they got Nick Westbrook-Ikine. He was really solid for the Titans last season as just like a consistent deep threat. I mean, I think he had less than 40 catches and he had like 9 touchdowns, I want to say. Let me just
mhm.
confirm that. He had 32 receptions and 9 touchdowns. Yeah. Like that is insanity. He was averaging 15 and a half yards per catch. Like he was getting I mean he had like a 98-yard touchdown. He was getting consistent like 20, 30-yard touchdowns over and over. So it just fits the Dolphins offense very well. And then they got Darren Waller to unretire and um, come play for them.
Well,
Like Darren Waller was one of my favorite tight ends for throughout his entire career. I was such a huge fan of him, and when the Giants traded for him, I was so happy about it. He was not good for us. The first season he was, the second season he was not. He was consistently hurt, and then even when he was healthy, he was not good. I don't think that he will be good for them at all. And like their tight ends behind him are like Julian Hill. I'm not even entirely sure who that is to be honest with you. Pharaoh Brown, like it's bad. So
I can
I
tell you how awful Pharaoh Brown is after watching him last season. He
yeah
is
I
one
do
of
know
the
who
worst
he is.
players
Yeah,
in the league.
he's not good. Yeah, he's got 3 career touchdowns and he's played since 2019. So that's kind of crazy.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
He's a blocking tight end who can't block. He's a very bad player.
Yeah, so I could see the Dolphins finishing last, especially if Tua goes down. It would almost be hard for them to not finish last. But I do have the Jets in last place. Yeah, so I have the Bills at 14-3, Patriots at 9-8, Dolphins at 8-9. I have the Jets at 4-13. Um, like this, it's just I don't. All right, so first off, I'm not high on Justin Fields. Um, I wasn't that high on him on the Bears. I wasn't high on him on the Steelers, and I'm not high on him going to the Jets season. I don't know how to feel about Aaron Glenn as a head coach. I not to say that I think he's going to be bad, but it's just I don't have the same confidence as I do with Ben Johnson. Um, and then they don't have much like for this offense. It's uh, they got Garrett Wilson, who obviously is very good. Brees Hall, who is good, but like I don't trust Justin Fields to get Garrett Wilson the ball that much. Their receiver 2 is Josh Reynolds, and then Tyler Johnson. So like it's this huge, steep fall off after Garrett Wilson. The offensive line is not bad at all. Like they really did a lot of work on it the last few years to make it so much better. And they've taken multiple first round tackles, which is exciting. Armand Membu is like a just behemoth of a human, so that's like awesome. And Fashanu, who they took last year, I was really high on as well. Um, so they should have 2 bookend tackles, which is obviously just so important. The defense is really going to be their calling card this season. It's going to be where they win and lose games, or where they potentially win games. The offense is going to be where they lose games. Um, it's like just every position they have good players at. The front 7 is awesome. The back uh, 7 is or whatever it's referred to. The secondary is very good as well. Um, but I'm just worried about Justin Fields as a starter, and with a rookie head coach as well, that also worries me a bit. Um, I don't think that this is the Jets aren't good, and like I don't really have much else to say about them. I don't think that they're gonna have a good season.
Yeah, I kind of already said. Um, I like the Jets defense still. Justin Fields, we kind of know what we're getting at this point. I think
Yeah.
they're going to hang around like 6 wins. I could see them finishing second in the division, honestly, just because I think the division's horrible. But for me, the Dolphins will be the clear last team, and it'll kind of be between the Patriots and the Jets. But at the end of the day, the only team that anybody should really care about from this division is the Bills, because they're the only team that's going to be in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Hey, the Patriots, according to my 100% accurate record predictions, where I don't get a single game wrong, they will be at the playoffs. All right, we can move on to the AFC West, the last division. I feel like not even potentially, almost definitely saving the best for last. This was the hardest division. Or see, like I don't know if it was the hardest division to choose from, but it's the most stacked division. Where I really feel like all four teams not necessarily could make the playoffs, but could contend for the playoffs. So to start out, I have the Chiefs. So last season's rankings: Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I've got the Chiefs repeating as the champion. I will say it was very, very close between them and the Broncos. But I feel like the Chiefs end up winning it. They've won this division. I think this will be like the 10th year in a row or something close to it, maybe ninth year in a row. They like we mentioned it a little bit earlier. I think Mahomes, the offense will start to be more explosive again. They've obviously taken it so much back to the line of scrimmage where it's so many quick 5 yard, 7 yard plays. The offensive line is a lot better now. They drafted Josh Simmons in the first round, who training camp. I mean, he looks like a beast. He's been stopping every single person they throw at him. Um, I think that I don't know, the Chiefs are just the best team for quite some time now. I think getting Rashee Rice back and Worthy showed that he was pretty good last year. Hollywood Brown didn't play much, but I think that he'll be healthy now. And then I like Jalen Royals out of Utah State. I've heard a ton from John Doe was mentioning him, but the tape I've seen and like the stuff in the offseason, he looks pretty good. The defense is still gonna be good as well. They've got Chris Jones up front, which is just like I'm biased in saying that Dexter Lawrence is the best tackle, but Chris Jones is certainly at least arguable to be the best. Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, they've got a lot of good pieces on that defense, but it's really the offense is where their main winning and losing is going to be at. Travis Kelce certainly is falling off though, so this is probably his swan song last season. Who is your number one though?
Yeah, I'd agree with you that the Chiefs will be first. I do think this is the best division in the league in terms of just like depth,
Mm-hmm.
but we are starting to approach probably the end of the Chiefs dynasty era, or at least the first one. They'll probably be able to retool around Mahomes one more time in his career for kind of a stretch of years, but I think this will kind of be the last year of this core being a true Super Bowl favorite type of team. LC, like you said, is getting worse. I am excited to see the receiving core this year, especially since it sounds like they're switching up their offense a little bit. Worthy, Rice back, Hollywood. Like this is what has annoyed me about the Chiefs for the last couple of years. You have one of the most talented players at the position ever, one of the most talented arms at the position ever, and you're sitting here running dink and dunk football,
Yeah.
short screens, like these. You're averaging like 4 yards of play. Like the team is just really like methodical in their approach, and it worked, but like ultimately you run into a defense like the Eagles, and if you can't generate explosive plays, like
Mm-hmm.
you're just like you're not going to methodically move the ball against a team like the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're switching it up. Hopefully we see a little bit more of the Mahomes that we saw winning MVPs, because it's a lot more exciting to watch from a viewer experience,
Yeah.
and I think it's just better for the league when he's playing that way. Chris
Mm-hmm.
Jones, mentioned it already. He's like arguably the most impactful defensive player in the league in the last few years. I think we probably will at a point like you'd think he has to decline, but we haven't seen it yet. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have no reason to assume it will. McDuffie, like they still have all these strong pieces. They still have the coaching. They still have like the Chiefs are just a championship team. Even if they didn't actually win it last year, they have all the pieces they need. They have the chemistry. They have the you know game plan. They have everything they need to contend. So I think they'll be first again. I don't think they'll win. I don't think they'll win as many games as they did last year. I think they'll probably win like 12 or 13 games this year. I think they'll probably take the foot off the gas a little bit in the regular season.
Mhm.
There's definitely a lot less pressure on them this year. Last year, probably the best chance we're going to see for a really long time at a three-peat in the NFL. Like really, probably something that will never happen, just with how hard it is to stay healthy.
Yeah,
But the pressure's off of them now to like be that team that can finally does a three-peat. So I think they'll be a lot more relaxed this year. And yeah, I'm excited to watch them play. I think they'll probably finish third in the AFC in the regular season, but yeah,
I
I think they
agree.
definitely win this division.
I had them third, but like they go 13-4. But it's just I have the
Mhm.
Ravens and Bills both 14-3. It's really like such an incredible era of 2010s. We had like Mahomes. We had Brady, Manning. Like you had like the Roethlisberger, Rivers. Like Flacco was in there for a year, and like a few other Carson Palmer, like a few other people you can name. But now it just feels like such an era of just insane quarterback talent in the AFC right now between Lamar, Mahomes, and Allen. Um, it's pretty insane, and like any given year, it feels like any of these teams can win the conference, can make the Super Bowl, and it never really felt like this before. So it's an era of parity, even though if there isn't actual parity, it feels like there's more parity than ever before. I have the Broncos.
Yeah, you heading out?
All right, I've got the Broncos as my 2 seed, or as my second in the division. I think so. I had them at 12-5, so just one game behind the Chiefs, and I think it came down to like the last week or two, in my record predictions where they like it was going back and forth. The Broncos were ahead for a lot of the season. I think that they showed last season, same as the Commanders, like they were that breakout team that people didn't expect to be that good. And then I think they'll continue it again into going into this year. I mean, Sean Payton is just a wizard of a coach, and he never coaches bad teams for the most part. And then Bo Nix really showed last season that he is a true NFL quarterback, which I never expected. I really thought that he was going to be a bust. Um, and I think they had a really good draft. They had Jody. They took Jody Barrett in the first round, which I loved. I was really high on him as well. He was like it was him, Starks, and uh, now I'm blanking on his name again. Um, the Eagles linebacker first round.
Hod
Like
Campbell.
yeah, Jahad Campbell. Thank you. That like were probably my three favorite players in this draft. Um, yeah, I think that their defense they have the depoy PS2 at corner. There's so many good pieces to hit on this Broncos team. I think they could win this division if things like really fall well for them. I just don't think that they have enough pieces to truly contend. Like you have to just be otherworldly. It feels like to take out the Chiefs right now. They added Evan Ingram. They signed J.K. Dobbins as well, so they have that 1-2 punch at RB. And then like the receiver core is a little bit weak for me though. That is the one thing I'll say. With Marvin Mims being there too, who was good last year, but then they have Devon Vele as their three. Maybe it'll be Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant, but like it's a little bit too weak for me. And Evan Ingram's, I'm excited for him. I think he's gonna have a really good season, but I think they're just a little bit too short to match the Chiefs right
Um, Vin Diesel taught me about the importance of family, and Sean Payton might be a strong X's and O's guy, but Jim Harbaugh knows how to build a family,
now. Oh my
and
god.
for that reason, I'll be putting the Los Angeles Chargers as my number two team in the AFC West. I really liked the draft they had. I was a really big fan of Hampton at North Carolina. I think
Mhm.
he's going to finally be like a serious running back that the Chargers have so badly needed for a while now.
Definitely.
Really liked Trey Harris. I think he's going to be a really good outside receiver for them. I think McConkey's like already solidified. Like he's going to be one of the top receivers in the league next year.
Hmm.
You have two franchise tackles. Obviously, you have
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. Like they're offensively, I think this season they're in a really good situation. Quentin Johnston, I mean, it gets to a point where I don't even understand how his hands haven't even gotten like a little bit better. But I think he will be like, or I think he'll be their third receiver, so it won't be as big of a problem as it's been in the past. I do think Trey Harris will be their kind of like second receiving option this year.
Yeah.
So
Quentin Johnson is like
defensively,
he's like the nerdy kid at recess that like is playing football with you, but like he's just like unathletic, and so he just like drops every pass. Like that's kind of what I
yeah,
like. He's like the kid in basketball who can't hit any shots and just misses every layup. Like that's who Quentin
yeah,
Johnson is.
and it's confusing because
Yeah, but then he'll hit like a
you
30
know like
foot
that.
three. Like he'll just catch an insane streak or like a crazy jump ball, but then the next play drops a slant. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he's a weird player, and like I said, I don't think it'll be as much of a problem this year because they've got a little bit more around Herbert now.
Hmm.
The big thing for this team, though, is Harbaugh kind of builds his team on his defensive philosophy, and I think they're going to be back to being a really good defense again this year.
Hmm.
You know, you look at their team talent wise, like there's not a like really ton of talent defensively on the Chargers. They
Yeah.
just again, it's family. They play together, they play hard, and you know, they I think they'll be right back to being one of the better defenses in the league again this year. So I don't know. For me, it's about being just higher on the offense than I was last year, and you know I'm really high on Justin Herbert, so I'd put him two. I think the reason I'd have the Broncos falling behind them because I'd
Hmm.
have the Broncos at three is I think Bo Nix is terrible. Um, yeah, he had a strong season last year. He put up good numbers, but I just felt like every time I watched him, I wasn't really that moved by what he was doing. Like a couple of the like he had the game against the Bengals at the end of the year where he was literally just throwing up bullshit and it was working. And I just I think what he did last year won't be sustainable. Um, you know, I'd gladly be wrong. He's an Oregon product, so I'm never gonna like hate watch Bo Nix, but um, I just don't think he's really that good. He's one of those quarterback archetypes that I just think doesn't really end up sustaining in the league. So I'd put them three. I think all top three teams in this division will win double digit games because I think the Broncos will have like top three defense in the league. I think their defense is going to be ridiculous this year, but I would have them fall behind the Chargers just because I think the Chargers are a little bit more balanced on both sides of the ball.
Hmm. Um, so I had the Chargers at three. And like maybe I'm low on them, but it feels like this is a tough schedule. Um, and a lot of the games that like a lot of these games I could see them like I had them losing to the Giants in week 4. Not because I think the Giants are better, but I think like like you don't just beat every team that you're better than. Like I had them losing to the Dolphins in week 6, and yeah, I'm a little higher on the Dolphins than you are. But like it's games like that, like the Vikings in week 8. Like I think that it's just some games that you like you might go into them better than, but you just like they don't fall your way. Um, I'm not low on the Chargers at all. I think their receiver core is definitely questionable. I like Trey Harris a lot. Um, I think that he will be their receiver too this season. And what's his name? Let me go back. Um, uh, Keandre Lambert Smith has been so good in training camp so far. He um, there was a stat that or no, sorry, it wasn't him. It was um, oh, I'm talking about the entire wrong team. That's a Raiders stat, not a Chargers stat. My bad. Um, uh, but yeah, I like the Chargers. I just don't think that they are on the level of the Chiefs or the Broncos. I think the Broncos defense is just so much better than the Chargers offense or defense. I do like Hampton a lot, like you said. I think that he's going to be their running back one, even quicker than expected because Najee has this eye injury that's been going on after his firework incident. So there's going to be less competition from day one than there was expected. Uh, I just don't think that they're going to be able to stack up enough wins throughout the entire season. and like the receiver two is too shaky. I know they've made the playoffs in the past. I think even last season, but I just don't think that they. I think the Broncos are going to pass them up this season. Um, yeah, there's nothing against the Chargers though. I do like this team. Jim Harbaugh always seems to raise teams' floors significantly more than they should be. Um, but yeah, tough division. It's not going to be a lot of easy wins given out in this division, and the schedule is not too easy either. Um, so yeah, I think that they 8-9, 9-8, like maybe they hit 10 wins, but that feels like a little bit of a stretch to me. All right, so I just went over the Chargers as my 3 seed, but the NFL and ESPN just reached an agreement to give access so the ESPN gets Red Zone, NFL Network, 7 more regular season games, fantasy football rights, and more, and the NFL gets equity in ESPN. It's saying that it will take at least 9 to 12 months for regulatory approval, which means it'll be next season at the earliest. But that is an awful change. ESPN is you know, I slander so much ESPN so much for it's kind of funny because I want to do sports broadcasting, like it's potentially could be my future employer, but they're a terrible company. Like they're ran so terribly. They like every decision they make is bad. And the NFL doing this, it's just a money like it's just a cash grab. But like ESPN taking rights for NFL Network is going to be actually horrific. They're going to just like a channel that was already dying and like was just like doing stupid silly shows for clicks and views. It's already going to get even lower and like degraded even more. um I hope that they don't change Red Zone, but like it's ESPN, so they'll probably
Oh, they
like
100%
yeah,
will.
they'll get rid of Scott Hansen and put in like I don't know, Shannon.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, they'll put in Stephen A. Smith or like Shannon Sharp. They'll rehire him.
Didn't Shannon Sharp just get? Oh yeah,
Yes.
rehire Shannon Sharp after the allegations, and then put him on the most popular show for football.
Not allegations. That lawsuit, I'm pretty sure it hit. Yeah, it's whatever. ESPN sucks. The NFL also sucks for giving them more rights and more games. Like ESPN coverage was so mid on Monday nights. Like it's just
I could rant about Stephen A. Smith being the worst member of sports media ever for hours and hours, but
Skip Bayless is
I'll
certainly
digress.
up there as well. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith is right there as well. No doubt
Yeah,
about it.
the thing for me with Skip is he never like personally attacked people.
Um,
He hated a lot of players
I,
and like, but he never like talked about people's like families or like
I think he did it
made
about
fun of them
LeBron
for
a bit, but I know what you're saying about with Stephen A. And
like
Skip,
he never like went for LeBron's family or like
yeah,
accused LeBron of
that's
like,
that's fair. I get it. He
but
is
he has like a baseline
yeah,
respect
he
for
is like
LeBron, I feel like.
racist and like a whole bunch of other things like that though. But that's a whole different conversation. Let's get back to the AFC West. So
The
I just
Las Vegas Raiders.
yeah I had the Chargers at 8-9. I also have the Raiders at 8-9. And it's like I went on my whole spiel about why I have the Chargers 8-9. It's not that they like I could see them doing better. It's just I don't think their roster is good enough to like I think that they got passed up by the Broncos. I'm high on this Raiders team though. I think like high enough for them not to be 500, but high enough that they won't be a 5-win team or 4-win team like it feels like they are perennially. I really liked the Geno Smith trade. I think that he is a above average quarterback at the very least, and even if it's not a Super Bowl winning move, like you can't look at everything as just like how close does it put them to Super Bowl contention or winning a Super Bowl. Like they are going from a team that was a bottom feeder year after year to potentially unlikely this season, but maybe competing for a playoff spot, or at least like being in the hunt for 2 more weeks than they were every other year. And sometimes that is what matters. They get Pete Carroll as well, so they're just becoming the Seattle Raiders. Which I've never been a huge fan of Pete Carroll, but it's better than the like Josh McDaniels and Antonio Pierce's that they've had in the past. They got Ashton Shenty at the 6th overall pick, which you can't say a single negative thing about his contact balance, his vision, his explosive speed, his pass catching ability. Everything he does is absolute 100th percentile, like some of the best stuff we've ever seen. He looks to be one of the better running back prospects ever, and there's obviously some incredible legends that were running back prospects. They're over under 6.5. I really feel like it's a. I think I would take that over. Dante Thornton Jr. is who I was
Mhm,
talking about earlier. He's
mhm,
I can't remember the exact, like it was like 6'5", whatever his weight is, to run like a 4.3 or faster in the combine, and it was him, Megatron, and somebody else. I don't remember. Like I don't. It was somebody else who was really good as well. Um, I think, and he's looked fantastic in training camp so far. Uh, I like this offense. I think that they're going to be, obviously, the one thing I say about them, their defense is going to be really bad, and so that is what worries me. But I think it's what I compare them to is like a Bengals light, where I think that the Bengals have such like a Burrow, Higgins, Chase, and Chase Brown as well. Like that is so much better than Geno, Genti, Jacoby Myers, and Trey Tucker. But um, I it's the same premise of our defense is terrible, so our offense is going to have to just like put up a million points a game, and I think that'll be the case for the Raiders. I think that they have the offense to compete in a lot of their games, and probably most of their games. Their offensive line is really good still, and they are getting Action Genty to. I think he's going to have a fantastic season, but it's just their defense is going to be so bad that it does worry me a little bit. They get behind in games. How much are they going to be able to run the ball? Um, but yeah, you also have them fourth. Talk about
I'd probably have
Raiders.
them winning seven or 8 games. I'd probably say like 8 games as well.
Hmm.
Really love the addition of Geno Smith. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. I thought he played really well last year.
Yeah.
He had some issues at the goal line with like red zone interceptions, and
Hmm.
his decision making is very what's the word I'm looking for here, like erratic, because like he knows he can make every throw, so he tries to make literally every throw,
Hmm.
and I think that's a positive for a quarterback. I think that's the way like Josh Allen used to play until he kind of started easing up his play. The only thing is like Gino doesn't have the like rushing talent
Yeah.
or like the team around him to be able to do that same thing, so he kind of has to stay in that gunslinger mode. But
Yeah. He's also
I
like
think it's a great
7 years
pickup,
older, so like that learning
that as well.
area
And he
is
just
not
like
there.
his arm also just isn't as good as Allen's. Like
Yeah.
it's it's like just one of those gunslinger archetypes where you kind of have to live with the negatives because of the
Hmm.
positives that come with it. NT, I think he's going to be top 10 running back in the league as a rookie. I think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to be amazing.
Hmm.
I think he's going to be the best running back in the league in like 3 years. It's going to be him, Bijan, Gibbs. Running back position's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah. It'll be
Um,
Saquon like when he's 30, like probably at that same area as well. Like I think he'll have
mhm,
Derrick Henry longevity too. I didn't even mention Brock
mhm.
Bowers, which like that's my fault.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers is, I mean, he just had the greatest rookie receiving season, not even just for a tight end, but for a like just pass catcher ever. Um,
Mhm.
he is just so unbelievably good at all levels of the field. He's a decent blocker, but he's an even better pass catcher. Um, I like this offense really could be pretty exciting. I I'm excited for it. I think like they've got the running back, they've got a decent receiver core with an elite tight end that makes for the lack of receiver 2 or 3 makes up for it a lot. I like Jacoby Myers. I think that he is pretty underrated. I'm pretty high on him. He hit a good season last year. I think he's gonna have another good season this year, and he's getting an even better quarterback, an even better coach. My only worry is Chip Kelly at offensive coordinator has never been one to use tight ends much and really relies on the running back or the running game a lot. And so, like, I'm not high on Chip Kelly at all. I've never have been. And so that does worry me a little bit. But like, I think that they'll end up being fine.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's also kind of a coach where his teams are usually ground and pound. That's kind of how it was in Seattle when we had Marshawn.
Hmm.
And then again, like you saw throughout the decade, we had Rawls, Carson. Like even when we had bad running backs, we would run the ball out with
Rashad
Pete Carroll.
Penny.
So Rashad Penny, yep. but like their offense is going to be amazing. It's going to be one of the 10 best offenses in the league. They just have talent all over the place. They have players who can beat you in the receiving game, the run game. They have offensive line that's good enough to give Geno better protection than he had last year. So as far as defense goes, it's you have one guy. You have Max Crosby, who's just like an all-world, all-pro player who is going to be. Yeah, I mean, Darian Porter is like a solid rookie, and then like Malcolm Kuntz is coming off an injury, and he's probably going to be like their third best defensive player. Defense is completely horrible, but the thing about Max Crosby is he's so good that he can make enough big plays in a game to win you games, and I
Mhm.
think that's how the Raiders will win a lot of their games this year. Is it will be Max Crosby making a timely defensive play, and
Yeah.
I honestly think if there's a year for Max Crosby to win Defensive Player of the Year, it would be this one because he's literally going to have to carry the entire defense. I don't think he will because I don't think the Raiders will win enough games for him to really have a chance at it, or
Hmm.
he'd have to have like 20 something sacks, which I
Yeah.
think with the lack of other pass rushers would be hard to do with how much attention he's going to get.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna get doubled, chipped, doubled and chipped,
mhm.
like everything.
The
It's
thing
gonna
I
be
love
really
about
tough.
Crosby though is like you see he's up there with a lot of the other pass rushers. I think out of all the elite pass rushers, he's like pretty clearly to me the best run defender out of all of them. He's
Hmm.
just a complete monster in the run game.
Yeah.
It feels like he impacts almost every single play when I watch. And one of my roommates is a Raiders fan as well,
Hmm.
so I'll be watching their games. And I probably would have been watching them anyways just because I love Geno. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is a team that I think will be really fun to watch. They have a lot of exciting players, mainly on offense. But yeah, I could see this team if they reach their ceiling, uh, easily getting a playoff spot. I could see the whole AFC West making the playoffs. Honestly,
It would be really, really hard to. Like, you basically have to
mm
win all of your non-divisional games, or at least close to it,
mm.
to make the like for all four. But if it's three, I wouldn't be surprised. Um, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think it will be three. I
Yeah,
think it'll be. I think it'll be the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Bengals as the wild card teams.
I had two from every division except the Texans, and then the NFC I had three from the East, one from every other division, and two from the North. Like maybe two from the West if I have the Cardinals over the Lions, but I don't think I would. Um,
I think I'd have. I think the Rams and Niners make it. I think the Eagles make it. So I'd say the Panthers make it, and then I'd say
Cowboys,
the
Commanders.
Lions and Packers make it. So it would be between like the Cowboys. I think it'd be between like the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Falcons
It would
for
be.
like that last
I feel like
spot,
it'll be hard for the NFC South
like the
to have two
Bucks.
teams. Like they just don't.
Yeah,
They're not good enough.
I think the Falcons and Panthers will literally be split by a tiebreaker.
I think
So
so
I
too.
think there's a chance that whoever loses that gets in.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it feels like the
those games between them two will be really exciting. They
yeah.
play week 3 in Carolina, and then uh, week 11 in Atlanta. So like those will be really important games.
I just feel like the NFC is not very good this year.
It's kind of been the case
I feel
for a
like it's
while
just
now.
I feel like it's just the Eagles, and then like the Eagles are the clear best team, and then I don't really know
Hmm.
who comes in line after that.
Yeah, because like the Bucks were pretty
I got
good, but I think they're going to take a step back. The Lions were really good, but like losing both coordinators, like at the very least, is like you have to like take a second to reconsider how good they could really be. Like I don't really trust the Packers to truly contest them. The Niners are like unless Ayuk gets back into form and it's just like his typical self, it's kind of hard for me to imagine them being that good. If Stafford's healthy, the Rams could do it. I mean, the Rams almost beat them last season, and they got better this offseason. So like they could do it.
yeah. I've seen people picking the Rams to win the NFC, um, and it could happen. The thing is, like, it's always risky to pick a team to win the NFC back to back years,
Hmm.
or a team to win any conference back to back years.
Yeah,
But like the Eagles are a rare collection of, and they just added like a superstar linebacker, which is probably their weakest position on their team.
yeah,
Like they are literally stacked everywhere. Like they would need insane injury luck or like insanely bad injury luck or like the Madden cover curse being real or the NFC East curse being real for them not to repeat as NFC champions. Because like
Yeah.
I don't really think Jalen Hurts is that good, but as long as he does his job, they're just a machine that's really hard to stop when they're healthy.
Hmm. And the Eagles, they got Andrew Makuba too, which I really liked. Like they just every move they did, like getting Jahad Campbell, getting Makuba, like they're probably safety and linebacker were their two weakest spots on the defense, and then they could still use a better receiver three than Jahan Dotson, but like they have Saquon and they have Goddard, so they don't really
Yeah,
need a third. Like they don't even use the
and they
receivers.
have
Jahan Dotson doesn't even. It's not even on the field that much. Like to desperately need a better option.
the best O line in the league. Like
Yeah.
it's their team's insane. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Um. Any, I guess, early Super Bowl prediction? I haven't even thought about mine, so I would do this on the fly.
I'm going Ravens Eagles, and
I said
I
it
think
last year. Yeah.
I
I'll
think
say.
Lamar has the potential to be the best player the sport's ever seen.
Wow.
I think he has the best peak at his position ever already.
Jeez.
So I'm not betting against him.
Even more than 2007 Tom Brady.
I wouldn't even have. I'd say it's the best player I've ever watched is either like Lamar right now or like Mahomes in 2022 or like early 2010s Aaron Rodgers. Peak wise, I don't know if Brady's more in that conversation because of longevity and playoff success, but
I mean,
peak wise, I wouldn't really have.
he had like 50 touchdowns in one season. Uh,
Oh, stats
53.
wise, yeah, but like
Yeah. I mean, I just don't
I
purely
just
off stats, but yeah, whatever. I kind of agree. I want to say Ravens Eagles, but it'll end up being Chiefs Eagles again, and snooze Eagles win or something. I'd have
if
to
the
root for the
Chiefs win the
Chiefs.
AFC again, it's really getting to a point where like I'm just not going to watch the NFL anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
just
we
getting
we
boring.
need to dissolve the Chiefs. Send them to the
It's
UFL.
just like I wanted the Chiefs to three-peat last year because I thought a three-peat would be really
I
cool to
did
see.
too. I did too.
But like now that that's gone, I'm done with the Chiefs. I don't really want to see them anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of like maybe this is weird of me to say, but I kind of want Brady to stay the goat, so I don't really want Mahomes to catch him in rings. So like,
Oh, don't worry about Mahomes catching him.
yeah, I don't think that he will, but like, what is Mahomes has three right now, and he's right, and he's like,
Yeah,
I mean he's pushing like
I
30,
don't.
so like Brady had a whole second like resurgence in his 30s, where he just
Mhm.
continued to dominate. So like Mahomes would basically have to do the same thing to match him, but yeah, I
As
just don't
far as
I don't want it to be a conversation. It already is
as
though.
far as like longevity, I don't think anybody will ever catch Brady. Like if longevity is a really important thing for you for who the greatest of all time is,
Hmm.
I think Brady's pretty much unattainable. Um, but like I think Mahomes already peaked higher than him. I think Mahomes will have like all the counting stats. Like he'll be number one in all the counting stats when he retires if he plays long enough. He'll never catch him in rings, which again I don't know how much that really matters to people. Like some people really love rings, some people don't really care.
Hmm.
Um, I think it'll kind of turn into the Jordan LeBron debate where Mahomes won't have as much winning, but he'll have like all the counting numbers and he'll have like a slightly better peak, and
Yeah.
I think that'll kind of differentiate it for a lot of people. But
Um, Michael Parsons tweeted out like a big long like notes app tweet of him. The caption says "Thank you, Dallas." I'm assuming it's just him saying like, "I want to be here, but I requested trade, whatever, whatever." If he leaves, all right. So let's say the Commanders trade McLaurin and Micah gets traded. Do you
oh,
what?
he says he no longer wants to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me. There is confusion, so let me clear some things up. And then he kind of just talks about him and his agent trying to get a deal done.
Yeah.
My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally. Wow. Michael Parsons has requested a trade.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
And so like people are trying to comp like what a trade could look like for him. Um, I would assume like somebody mentioned, where was it? The Khalil Mack trade, where from Oakland to Chicago, they give up 2 firsts, a third, and a sixth, and they got back a second and a conditional fifth. So that was back then. Michael Parsons is on like Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor pace. So like he's, like this is even more so a different conversation than Khalil Mack. I think, man, I think 3 firsts is potential. Like there's possibility for it.
Who is it crazy for the Ravens? Can the Ravens even afford to add him to their team? They probably can't even afford to add him to their team.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not good with the cap stuff, especially for NFL. Like I don't know how that would work.
because I
You
know
have to
like
pay him
teams in the
30 something
NFL.
mil.
Yeah. Like, if I'm the Ravens, you can have like 4 first round picks, and I'm just gonna go win the Super Bowl this year, 100%.
Yeah,
And like
I would trade
probably,
anything you want outside of like the obvious things that you can't have.
yeah, like if the Ravens were able to get their hands on Micah Parsons, we're talking about probably talent wise one of the greatest sports teams ever.
Yeah, like I know
Um,
you don't see player for player trades ever, but there might have to be a player involved. I don't know, like because I know it's more common in the NBA, where like you not only for just salaries, but like to make up for, instead of giving you an extra first or two, I give you this player. Um, like maybe they would do like Marlon Humphrey or something, or like I don't even know, like one of their D linemen or something, to make up for like you're giving us a good player, so here's a decent one back. But then we're also going to give you next year's first, the first after that. Like it's probably like two. If it's 2 firsts, it'll be like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a fourth, and a sixth or something. Like maybe I really feel like it could be 3 firsts.
this is
See, I'll
wow.
tweet it out, but there's gonna be no motion on the
People
tweet,
saying
unfortunately.
Niners getting Micah. I'll kill myself if the Niners get Micah Parsons and have Nick Bosa and him at the same time.
Yeah, that would be insane. Um, that would be an insane duo. Yeah, this is a crazy situation. Um, yeah, so like I was gonna say earlier, if Micah gets traded and McLaurin gets traded, does that change your rankings for the NFC East at all?
If Micah gets traded, oh, 100%. I'd have the Cowboys. I don't think they'd be worse than the Giants, but I think like record wise, they'd be within a game of them. I think they'd clearly be like the third team. Like, because we're talking about like this is maybe a top 5 football player in the world. This is like the second, maybe first best edge rusher on the planet, and one of the best edge rushers of all time. So, I mean, this is like literally the Luca trade happening to Dallas all over again, except this time their star actually doesn't want to be there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, this is a crazy
that's
situation.
that's crazy.
And if the Commanders trade McLaurin, like that lowers them for me too, because their offense would be like so that would be such a major hit to their offense. I don't think McLaurin gets traded though. I think they end up paying him.
I think McLaurin will end up staying. Yeah,
Yeah,
Micah, dude, it sounds like he doesn't even want to be there. Like he
yeah.
doesn't even want to get a deal done. He just wants to be out.
Because the thing with him, like I mean, McLaurin too. Other teams would pay him, but Parsons is a different level where like if he says trade me, literally any single team in the league, all 31 other teams are sending whatever they need to send and offering whatever they need to offer for him to sign that contract.
Eagles fan has a question on Twitter.
Okay.
Would you trade? Would you trade
All
a
right.
first round pick and Nolan Smith for Micah Parsons?
No chance. Nope. Nolan Smith is way too good, man. Micah Parsons, he might. Nope. I can't do it. This is crazy.
But here's the thing. We know how good Micah is, but we don't know how good Nolan Smith could be. And that first round pick could be anybody.
That's a good point. Interesting. What the heck?
The
All
Dallas
right,
Cowboys.
Diana Rossini tweets, among the key issues, Micah Parsons spoke directly with Jerry Jones over multiple days in the spring. The team believed those conversations were negotiations and that it had a deal, multiple league sources said. But Parsons believed the talks were just conversations and wanted his agent to handle the negotiations. When his agent attempted to start negotiations, the Cowboys declined to engage with him and told the pass rusher that they believed they already had a deal. Now the team is refusing to engage with Parsons' agent at all, creating a tense standoff amid increasing friction. What the hell is happening?
The Cowboy, the same woman just tweeted: the Dallas Cowboys have no intention of trading Micah Parsons. Still, teams around the league are planning to check on his availability. Blah blah blah. Obviously, the Cowboys should have no intentions of trading him because you guys should be paying him. He is one of the best players ever.
Yeah, that's just I can't. I'm gonna go under the assumption that he stays a Cowboy until we literally see a trade, because it's NFL trades rarely happen to begin with, and then star level trades of this caliber, like when Khalil Mack got traded, that was jarring. But this would be even that would be even different. This would be crazy. I mean,
this would be crazier.
This is
Mack,
this
yeah.
is this would be crazier than the Cowboys trading Dak. This is almost to the level of any of the elite quarterbacks getting traded. This you don't trade Micah Parsons. That is the kind of guy that you keep on your team. You retire 11 in 15 years from now, and he goes in the Hall of Fame after 5 years after being retired. This is. I mean, that's just crazy. How old is he? 25?
If that, yeah.
He's 26.
26.
He's just turned 26. That's just he's going into his prime, and his prime, what he showed already is already better than most player of all time's prime. Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, no. This would be a catastrophically horrible. Okay.
He's got 52.5 sacks in 4 seasons. If he plays, he'll have over 108 seasons.
Who would be the worst trade, Luka or Micah? For Dallas, who would be worse?
See, in an all-time sense, Micah probably peaks higher or finishes higher. But Micah finishes as a top 10 defender ever, whereas Luka probably does not finish top 10 all time. And I know it's a little different. You're comparing overall player to just defensive player, but you can't just compare. NFL is different. You know what I mean? But the thing with Micah Parsons is not enough to just win you a championship or at least get you there. But he's a huge part of getting you there. Whereas Luka is 80%, 90% enough to get you there, and then you just need above you need average to above average around him to get you to the finals or close to it. I feel like Luka, but the Luka situation was obviously preventable, but Nico Harrison is just dumb, and so he did it. This situation is so preventable because you just pay him what he's worth. It's not like he's asking to get a percentage of the team or $50 million. He's getting less than 40 for the best player on your team. He's better than Dak. He's better than whatever else. Oh my goodness.
What did Myles Garrett sign? 4 years, $40 million per year.
Did you look it up already?
123.5 in guaranteed money. 4 years, $160 million. So Micah's younger, arguably just as good.
Yeah, you would need
Will
to pay him
probably
that.
peak higher. You would have to pay him at least $40 million
Well,
a
T.J.
year.
Watt just got a contract too. He got a 3-year, 123, so he's getting 41. Which, by the way, T.J. Watt is, and he got 108 in guarantees. Um, so that's pretty
TJ
rough.
Watt is 30 and worse than both of them.
Yeah, T.J. Watt also was 60th in pressures last season. So I know he drops back in coverage a bit, but pressure rate he was even very low on as well. So I'm just
Well,
yeah.
if Micah's asking for a 4-year contract and like 45 to 50 million a year, you have to pay him that money.
I think if you
I'd pay him like 45 a year,
I
like
would,
relative to
but I
whatever
think
contracts are.
I think like see that's tough. I could see if 42, I mean that's the highest paid. So I feel like that's where it begins. 42 is the starting negotiation of I want to be the highest paid person. So that's the minimum. If I could see 45 because he's younger than them all and he's not better than Miles Garrett. That's you could argue that, but he's better than T.J. Watt, and even if he's not better than either, let's say, which he is, um, he's significantly younger. Like he's going into his first contract extension, not his second. So,
Yeah,
man,
and this is like next year's Micah is probably like the next 3 years. Micah will probably be the best 3 years of his career. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks the sack record any of those years. He said like I'm reading his text now, his tweet. He said he told his agent to reach out to the Cowboys after his third year to because he wanted to get a deal done early like most players do. The Cowboys had no interest in starting negotiations. Um, then his agent was like, all right, let's wait for other top guys to get their deals done so we can get a gauge. Like he wa-
TJ
like
Watt
he
getting
he's
money is
mentioning like he
crazy.
wants to stay with the team. I want to stay a Cowboy long term. I want to be here for my career, whatever. And then he just that's crazy. He said like in this he's saying like he even at one point was willing to keep money on the table like he knew he was going to take a discount, and the Cowboys were just not responding. Like they weren't even they wouldn't even offer or be open to the idea of an extension. Um, that's so crazy. The whole thing about them thinking that they had a deal done and then they refused to talk to his agent, that's just scummy. That's just that's just backhanded and gross. You're trying to exploit the athlete because you feel like you could get one over on them rather than the agent. That's just so strange. Honestly, if Micah says I don't no matter what, I'm not playing here. You can find me what you want. You can do whatever you need to, but I'm not going to play another down for you. I would completely understand that because that really is such a slap in the face for them to think that they could go behind you and get a deal done without ever talking to your agent. That's super strange.
Yeah, this whole situation is weird. I'm not gonna lie. Jerry Jones, uh, the world no longer needs you here. It's time to move on. Um, yeah, Cowboys Cowboys are screwed until Jerry Jones is. So
Yeah, well, I do have to go to the airport to go pick up Micah Parsons. He's flying into Newark Airport right now because he just got traded to the Giants. Um,
oh.
yeah, so much for this entire conversation because he's a Giant. We traded um, the rights to Daniel Jones' uh, uh, contract that ended last year, and Jameis Winston, um, and a bag of chips and a second round pick.
Oh.
Yeah, Jerry Jones said yeah because he's you know
Well, it's Jerry Jones, of course.
senile old man. Yeah, my goodness, this is gonna be really interesting. I'm very interested to see what happens here because but depending on where he goes, that changes the entire landscape of the league. And like of the contending teams, who's going to be the Super Bowl favorite. Like if he goes to the all right, well he's not going to go to the Bengals because they would refuse to pay him. But it would make so much sense for the Bengals to go for him. Like then they wouldn't even need to get Trey Hendrickson back. They could and then have a great defensive front, but they would never even do it. But like they would make so much sense. The Chiefs would make sense. The Ravens would make sense. The Texans would make sense. The Bills would make sense. Like all of these teams would make. Oh my god! Imagine he goes to like the
Anybody,
Broncos.
anybody but the Bills or Niners is fine with me. If he goes to the Bills or Niners, I'm gonna be unbelievably pissed
You'd be fine with the Cardinals
because
or Rams.
yeah, honestly, my dad's a Cardinals fan, so I don't really have an issue with the
That's
Cardinals.
crazy.
The Rams, I mean, I don't like the Rams, but I don't really see why they'd trade for him when they have like 4 D linemen under the age of
The
25.
Chargers would make a ton of sense. They
Uh,
traded for Khalil Mack, right? Or did they sign him? I think they traded for him from the Cowboys. The Raiders would make sense.
I hope the Ravens get him.
That,
The Ravens are gonna trade for Parsons, sign Christian Wilkins, and then they're gonna get Tyreek Hill.
yep, makes sense.
Super
The Lions would
team.
make a lot of sense. But if they do trade him, I could see them saying like he's not staying in the NFC because like I know that's what teams typically do with quarterbacks, not as much any other position. But Micah Parsons is as valuable as a quarterback. So like
More valuable than like he's more valuable than all but
like
5
yeah, that's
quarterbacks
what I
in
was
the
gonna say.
league.
Yeah. So man, this really makes for an interesting situation. Um, yeah, there's nothing else that I'm seeing that's really coming out right now. Oh well, Schefter just put out a tweet saying some of Micah Parsons' statements today. I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed door negotiations with my agent present. Without my agent present, I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. And I have made a tough decision. I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally. So yeah, it's yeah, this is a crazy situation. It's pretty tense, but we'll see what happens. There's about a month left, so if something is going to happen, it'll be relatively soon. I'm sure teams are already calling the Cowboys phone line. Yeah, this is crazy. Anything else you want to say, or we can get on out of here?
um, no,
Yeah.
keep it to myself.
All right. Well, I don't know what the next video will be. Probably something with fantasy football because that is the next thing coming up in sports. So yeah, until next week or whenever it is. Signing off. See you around.